To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day. Yeah. Everything you need to know that you never knew, that you need to know. Lockhart Perspective.
Well, hello there, King BJ. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
It's a bad hair day. We're doing some tinting. So I just put on my little beanie. Maybe I should put it like we used to wear the bebops, like half slanted on my face or something like that. No, I'm gonna use my avatar for the rest of this. But anyway, hi.
Hey, how you doing?
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. There are so many creepy things that are going on right now. Oh boy. I mean, I have gotten a lot of different links from you prior to you sending me the one that I literally had just finished. Earlier in the day, I had gotten that link about the I loves men's, I dreams of men's. Hey, Zeb. And you know what? I just really wanted to title that tonight dealing with that. But then I thought, I don't know. But I think a whole lot of people are going to be dealing with this. And let me ask you something. Don't you think that the timing is a little curious?
Yep. And I just let Shaq and other people know we're on.
Oh, good. Because I had sent him the link to join us as well. I just thought to myself, it just seems a little curious that they are allowing this to go forward and they're allowing it to be discussed as though it had not been before. It had been. However, I do not think that a lot of people were really believing that it was any validity in it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to, as soon as we get, the other members of the panel on, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it because to me, it seems like to have a former seated president that everyone had rumored about. Hey, Coach Sherry, how you doing? There were so many different people who were who had this rumor mill. Even the young lady, the woman who used to do the comedy, she was a comedy, older white lady with the
Joanne Rivers.
Yes, Joan Rivers. Even she had said something, and then mysteriously, shortly after, she was no longer among the living. But for that reason alone, I think it is quite curious that it's been allowed to go forward and that they are now putting it all over the place. I mean, when I first got the alert, it was early in the morning, early in the day, I should say. And when I began to look at the copy, I was like, oh, yikes. But I noticed how the people in the Daily Caller continuously referenced the New York Post and saying, hey, yeah, I make love to men in my I make love to men daily. And then they kept saying, per the New York Post, per the New York Post. It's like everybody that was posting it was making sure that they were like, hey, this is allegedly, we didn't say it. It came from the New York Post. Now, with that, there is also a couple of other things, and that is I believe, $325 million that had been over the past several years funneled through the NIH, given directly to them and all of their scientists and things like that. Let's get into the video. We're going to get into the video, and we are going to play it a couple of times as folks come in, because I see somebody saying, I'm sorry, what are we talking about? Hey, Derek, how are you? So let's just get into the video. We're going to look at it. We're going to see, exactly what's what. There is an ad on here. So let me go through the ad, because I don't want anybody saying, oh, she played her stuff in it.
The
It's
easiest way to make money at home, and you 100%.
Now, there you go. Skip the ad. Let's go. Men daily. I make love to men daily. The New York Post reveals contents of a salacious Obama letter to his ex-girlfriend.
Former President Barack Obama wrote in a letter to his ex girlfriend saying over 40 years ago that he, quote, makes love to men daily, but in the imagination, according to the New York Post. Obama, 21 at the time, wrote to an ex girlfriend by the name of Alex McNear in November of 1982 that his, quote, mind was androgynous. Now, all of this was in a book by David Garrow. He recently discussed his 2017 biography on the former President Barack Obama, The Rising Star, The Making of Barack Obama. He said this in an interview with Tablet magazine. The letter continues, quote, in regard to homosexuality, I must say that I believe this is an attempt to remove oneself from the present, a refusal perhaps to perpetuate the endless farce of earthly life, closed quote. This again is what Obama wrote to McNear, according to the New York Post. He continues with, you see, I make love to men daily, but in the imagination. My mind is androgynous to a great extent, and I hope to make it more. So until I can think in terms of people, not women as opposed to men, but in returning to the body, I see that I have been made a man, and physically in life I choose to accept that contingency, the letter says. McNair initially redacted one paragraph of the letter about homosexuality when she gave it to Garrow for use in the book. She sold the original letter around the time of the biography's publication, enabling it to end up at Emory University. Garrow told the tablet on August the 2nd, 2023, in an interview. Garrow also told the tablet that he sent a friend, Harvey Clear, to the Emory archives to get the copy of the letter, which the university would not allow him to photograph. The New York Post reported that Clear provided it with a copy of the letter's contents. Quote, I'm a historian, not a psychologist, but I think it's public record news that a vast majority of human beings have sexual fantasies, Garrow told the New York Post. Emory University's collection of 9 Obama letters span from 1982 to 1984 after he transferred to Columbia University, according to the university's website. The letters reveal the search of a young man's meaning and identity. Emory University Stuart A. Rose Manuscript Archives and Rare Book Library Director Rosemary McGee said in a statement when the collection was announced in 2017. For Headlines with a Voice, this has been the Lockhart News Brief.
I really don't even know how to follow that up. I don't really know how to follow that up. I really honestly don't. I think it speaks for itself, but I do find the timing curious when we get this large cache of information that we have with a few other things. Tell me what you think about that, King BJ. And be as lengthy as possible because I have absolutely no words. I'm gobsmacked right now. I don't know what to say. If anybody in the chat can throw in a couple of words, that'd be good too. Lifestyle. Yeah, right. Hey, boxing. Yeah, I know boxing. So I don't know. What are you thinking, BJ?
I mean, it's kind of
We're
like par for the
speechless,
course.
right?
I kind of like par for the course, but the only thing I'm gonna say is, if you talking about it in your imagination, that ain't no imagination. That's something that you acting out. That's just too graphic, you know what I'm saying? Talk about that's just acting out. I mean, now that it was like also a girlfriend and then named Jagger or something like that in that article too, Jagger or something like that. And they said he was cheating on this one with Michelle or Michael, whatever, right? So it's a whole lot of information in that little story, but it's very interesting. I will say that.
I mean, it's actually something. Listen, let's just unpack the whole thing, right? I think that because America was going in the direction that it was going in all along, let's just play devil's advocate and let's just unpack it. What would have happened had he just come out like that in the beginning? Do you think it would have been such a landslide of votes that he did get? Hey, Flow State. I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean,
No.
No, you don't think so? You think that he had to keep it a secret?
But you know what? It's mighty interesting though.
There you go, Flow State. Mighty interesting.
Yeah. it's interesting, but it's not. I don't know because Buttigieg tried to get the same man. He was straight up open and he didn't get it. So I don't think that he would have got it. But I mean, the way they were going at the black church then to accept that, they could have said, "Well, don't worry about that because he's still gonna be for you." So they might have, been able to pull a rabbit out the hat, but I don't think. That's why they tried to cover it up until 2012. They had to get you to accept him completely.
Exactly.
Then, matter of fact, in the polling in 2012, he was out. And what did he do? He said, "Hey," at the last minute, he said, "Daggone, I've evolved to accept that daggone gay marriage can happen."
Mm-hmm.
But but that's a lie because actually, in 2009, Barack Obama went to I forgot where he was speaking at.
Overseas, or you mean here, stateside?
It was here.
Uh-huh.
It was here. And I've watched his speech. But it's 24 minutes long. He told the LGBT community, "I'm gonna do everything you want me to do for you." I'm dagging. Y'all been, he said like black people fighting in the 60s. Y'all been fighting. I'm gonna do everything I want to do. It was a big speech he had.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a GLAAD or one of them things.
Mm-hmm.
All you gotta do is look up Barack Obama speaking to the gay community in 2009, and it should come up. He had a big speech.
Really?
Yes, he had a big speech.
Okay. I'm gonna look that up while you're talking about it.
But it's like 24 minutes long, but he actually was just sitting there telling them that daggone, "I'm the president. I'm gonna try to do everything I can to help y'all." So he actually was fighting for them the whole time. He just didn't.
Okay. Okay. So let's get this right here. We're gonna read this. I am in the middle of doing the copy for this. And so I've already got a couple of drafts of it for audio. And so we're gonna go through this. We're gonna unpack this. And there's a very key piece that this particular author puts in this piece that stands out. It really does stand out. It says Obama's fraudulent legacy is being exposed, and it's on the wrong side of history. This is by Mark Hemingway. The date was August 9th, 2023. And if you would just, there's a very pertinent paragraph here. We're going to read it. Barack Obama is often hailed as one of the greatest orators in modern politics. While he had undeniable gifts in that department, as someone who attended a number of his speeches in person, I never quite understood all the praise. Setting aside his career making Red States Blue speech at the 2004 Democratic Convention, a plea for political moderation, he spent his time in office repudiating the only memorable things Obama said were either campaign pablum, such as hope and change, or remarks that were unintentionally revealing. Now, that sentence in and of itself, now that we're looking at this, we can think about a lot of things that were, Michael and I, those different phrases when you were sitting there watching live and you were flabbergasted as to what you just heard. I think that is very telling that he would end that particular paragraph with that statement. He goes on to say that in the latter category, my personal favorite remark was this comment about congressional Republicans from 2013. Now, get this. Very, very telling. We're going to try to do everything we can to create a permission structure for them to be able to do what's going to be best for the country, he says. Now, permission structure is a phrase that's been used by marketing executives for many years and was apparently in common usage at the Obama White House. The idea is based on an understanding that radically changing a deeply held belief and or entrenched behavior will often challenge a person's self-identity and perhaps even leave them feeling humiliated about being wrong. Permission structures serve as a scaffolding for someone to embrace change that they might otherwise reject. Now, I'm going to pause that there. But that, thank you. So when I found this, I thought to myself, wow. Now, mind you, I found this and then ding, I get the alert telling me about what they had come out with. And the Daily Caller pretty much just lifted their hands. The piece that you saw that was just done was a narration from the Daily Caller, but all over that narration, you could see that they were even sort of, trying to be careful by constantly going back to the New York Post. This and what we just looked at is exactly what is going on. They feel like if they get the permission structures to sort of bend, that it will make everybody a little bit more pliable, a little more malleable. They want to change a little bit. And that's exactly what happened. In 2013, the speech was made, that little excerpt that he put out. What do you guys think about that? Frank, how you doing tonight? It's good to see you. What do you think about that?
I mean, I'm really not surprised, man. People kind of like be telling all this, like, what's that thing they saying? You gotta like kind of you kind of gotta let people know what you do, know what you're doing. You see what I'm saying? You gotta indirectly say what you're doing. You know what I mean? So you could actually admit to the people what you're doing. So you're not technically told people your agenda. You know what I mean? It's like one of them thing kind of things.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's sort of like, let me tell you what I'm doing and you figure it out, but you can't say I didn't tell you because I told you. And isn't that a part of and you know who would know the answer to what I'm about to say, because there's a specific name for it. And I think Derek might know, Derek C. Williams, and we are blessed to have him in our midst this evening, as well as our sister Black Spring with Autumn. He would know. It's that phrase that they say that they had to tell you, something like that. They got to tell you what they're doing. So oftentimes they'll use TV shows, movies, and things like that to sort of drop it that they told you. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So just to hear that this was the method of choice to use to get even Congress at that time, or the Republicans, as he stated, to do what they wanted, what he really wanted them to do. While there's been more overlap between politics and marketing than anyone would like to admit, the naked use of jargon that comes from the world of consumer manipulation betrays a remarkably egotistical approach to politics. There was no need to address honorable disagreement to Obama's policies, which were politically extreme and consistently opposed by voters. Now, the White House just needed to create, with the help of a slavish media, narratives that could help people admit they were wrong and come around to his way of thinking. Ironically, and I want to talk about that. Let me stop because I got to say this. That part there reminds me of my phrase that I'm always saying: predictive programming. Yes, that's it. Thank you, Derek. It is predictive programming. It's like, okay, we're going to let you know in advance, but yeah, here you go. We told you. The part that we just read, speaking with regards to the media, the narratives or whatnot, that people could admit that they were wrong. Do you guys remember me saying that they were sort of bullying, for example, to cause confusion? They're bullying the white community into feeling guilty. So anything they tried to push in, with the use of the black community, they tried to make the white community feel like if they didn't agree with it, then they were racist. In other words, while they were sitting there talking about voting rights and having identification to go and vote, if you don't agree with this, because we're saying that it's because black people and marginalized communities don't have ID, then you're a racist. This is that. What do you think? This is that. The whole narrative to make people make people think that they were wrong, and coming around to his way of thinking. Because if you remember, there was a whole shift of people, white, black, and indifferent, whether or not it was, all a show or if it was real. There were a lot of people. And another time, what they did also to make people see things their way was the whole Me Too thing ended up making men not even able to greet a lady. It had men not even able to say hi to a woman because they sort of beat the men into a position to where, oh, well, forget it. I'm not even going to say anything. I don't want anybody to accuse me of being, X, Y, or Z. Then you had women who looked like dudes walking across the street. If somebody looked at them, what are you looking at me for? You're undressing me with your eyes. There was a video of a woman saying that to a man, and clearly I don't think he was interested, but that was the narrative. Tell me what you think about this. Derek, if you'd like to come up, or Black Spring with Autumn, you're welcome to. The link is in the chat. Let me put it back out there so you guys will have it readily available. I know you can't stay long. You just got through saying you was peeking in, and here I am trying to put you to work, Derek. But yeah, that would be gaslighting. Derek says that would be gaslighting. But the problem that I have with the whole thing is that this is exactly what happened, and this is how we ended up being where we are. Again, it says, ironically enough, I thought of the permission structure remark reading David Samuel's interview in Tablet with Obama biographer David Garrow. That's the article that we just got through reading. The one that we just read, the one that I just narrated, that's what that one. It says, which is shaping up to be perhaps the most discussed piece of journalism of the year. That's because the entire article is a really effective permission structure for a lot of Obama voters and moderates who finally admit he's an entirely overrated, largely failed president. This is from this author, who was far more radical than he ever let on. He also obsessed with celebrity and not very loyal to the people who helped him along the way. In other words, he's pretty much the guy his critics on the right said he was all along. Now, this individual did use a juxtaposition of Martin Luther King with Obama. And let's hear what this has to say. He said, to be clear, that's my gloss on it. And while I don't think it's an unfair summation, I wouldn't want to claim to speak on behalf of Samuels or Garrow, but I think it's undeniable the article does real damage to Obama's reputation because the many critics in the piece are rooted in factual revelations about Obama's past and the considered opinion of Garrow, who won a Pulitzer Prize in 1987 for his biography on Martin Luther King. In addition to decades of work as a civil rights historian, Garrow is a major historian of abortion. Garrow was considered an important enough scholar that Obama sat for 8 hours of interviews with him while he was president, and it's clear his opinion of Obama is somewhere between dismissive and contemptuous. Worse, Garrow's opinion is all the more devastating to Obama because throughout the sprawling 16,000-word interview, Garrow keeps reverting back to his extensive knowledge of Martin Luther King and making explicit comparisons between the two men to reinforce his unflattering judgments about Obama. At first blush, being compared to MLK would be an impossible standard for almost anyone to be held up to. However, as a historian, Garrow is notable for exposing Martin Luther King's considerable character flaws. The degree of MLK's womanizing and alcoholism are decidedly the worst than public wants to know. While still burnishing his historic accomplishments, it's clear throughout the interview that Garrow is not so reverential toward Martin Luther King. He can't think objectively about him, yet he still considers him a great man. And in fairness, Obama invited this comparison upon himself. He wrote into the White House encouraging supporters to frame his election as the fulfillment of Martin Luther King's legacy, and further invited comparisons by approaching MLK's rhetoric. Speaking of memorable Obama rhetoric, I'd be willing to bet that millions of Americans are under the impression, quote, the arc of history is long and bends towards justice is an Obama quote rather than an MLK quote. And it appears MLK borrowed it from a 19th century Unitarian minister. Nonetheless, Obama has used the phrase arc of history more than a dozen times since his first presidential campaign. I want to welcome some guests. Looks like we've got some folks in here. We got my brother Derek and we got our brother Flo State. Thank you all for joining. What say you, gentlemen? Anyone take your time, jump on in. I'm done reading. Now it's just time for us to have a commentary. Let me take this off the screen. What do you guys think about what we're looking at?
Well, shout out and respect due to the mighty Felicia Lockhart, Biloxi, Mississippi. Stand up. Just real quick, just less than 5 minutes of your time. I'm not real a long talking guy. I can say what I got to say in less than 5 minutes and then I'm out. Back when Obama was running, Tavis Smiley was on the Tom Joyner Morning Show, and I was in support of Obama, believe it or not. I was in support of Obama up until the point that Tavis Smiley was fired from the Tom Joyner Morning Show for simply wanting to ask Obama what he thought he might could do. And Black America just lambasted Tavis Smiley, and Tavis Smiley going forward, it made me wonder, question like, well, why would you fire Tavis Smiley, who is an accomplished journalist, for simply wanting to ask this man what he thought he could do for Black people? If Black people were going to get behind the guy, you would think he's going to have some type of agenda. It's my understanding that Al Sharpton, Mark Morial from the National Urban League, and a couple other Black leaders supposedly had this Black agenda that they were supposed to have been talking with Obama. It never came to fruition. But I say this on the back of this. As it come out later, there was a documentary called Dreams of My Real Father. And I forgot the guy's last name, but his first name is Joel. And this is for anybody to see right now. Shh, quiet, girl. Yeah, sorry about that, y'all. But at any rate, Damaris, what up? Yeah, but anyway, the documentary pretty much showed where Obama was in fact not born by Barack Obama, but by a Black communist by the name of Frank Marshall Davis, and that documentary is very convincing. And we also have to realize too that right before Obama took office, a Black piano player from the church that he went to, he ended up dying just like the chef that is now just passed on, who from all accounts was a very accomplished swimmer. So you have a whole bunch of stuff with Obama. All I know is that from what I've gleaned and from what I've read, I think Time Magazine or People Magazine had this guy on the cover, being the first gay president. So apparently it has some type of legs, all that type of old stuff. So it's a whole bunch of stuff with this guy. But for Black people, it's just unfortunate that we got behind somebody that really didn't do anything for Blacks as a whole and for the country for that matter. The NDAA from 2012 signed by him, essentially giving up sovereignty to our country and all this type of good stuff. And so that's pretty much all I had to. That's pretty much all I had to say. I just want to pop in right quick and give my 2 cents. Is really in this case, if you remember the 80s movie or the 80s cartoon Transformers, and the byline was "More than meets the eye." It really is with this dude. It really is with this dude. And so I just think that Black people and America as a whole were duped by him. I think he was well spoken, a handsome guy, and all of that. And people didn't really look at policy. And once he got in office, it was a wrap at that point. Mm-hmm. And so that's pretty much all I have to say. But as far as I'm concerned, and from what I've read, Obama is not who he says he is. He's definitely not of African origin. He's a biracial dude. Mm-hmm. He's American. Again, his father is, you can look into it for yourself. This guy named Frank Marshall Davis, who absolutely hated Black folks and hated the country and hated his own kind. So I'm going to step off and just salute to your panel.
Before you do, yes, I know your baby. I know your daughter's out in there. Good.
Yeah, she all over the place, just all of a sudden.
But I do.
She know better than that.
I do want to talk and to piggyback on or lend me back on a couple of things that you said. You're absolutely right. And they actually favor one another. And I know the documentary that you're referencing. And so here's what I've asked. I asked earlier. Now is the time that I believe that he is able to basically come out because of all of the red carpet that's been laid out thus far over the past couple of years. And now I think that it's easier for those who rallied behind him in the first place, who still rally behind him, even with the rumors, to basically hold up that banner for him and make him feel as if he is, like he's vindicated. I really don't think this information at this particular time coming out the way that it has, even though it's not saying that he's bona fide X, Y, or Z, right? But it is saying that this is a direction that everybody has seen. People have rumored. We even talked about Joan Rivers. And now it would seem like it has a bit more of, it has more legs now. It just has more legs. I personally believe that he is Frank Marshall's son. They do
I
favor, they
do.
look identical. I do understand the story behind it. I had questions with regards to American citizen, because if that was the case, then he was an American citizen. But when he went to India, in order for him to attend school there, one would have to denounce your other citizenship, because you can't attend school there in India, well, like he did with his stepfather, right? You can't
Yeah.
go to school there unless you give up your US citizenry. So for me, your US citizenship. So for me, that was my big question about the citizenship piece. But as far as his lineage is concerned, the whole entire story is absolutely, it makes so much sense in the timeline with regards to when he was in Hawaii, with regards to, how he would go and allow him to tutel, the tutelage that he would receive from Frank, the way that Frank had great disdain for the United States, having the whole socialist and the communist background that he did. It all made sense when you look at the direction he went, and by he I mean Mr. Obama. What are your thoughts before you leave?
Yeah, well, the whole thing with and we can't let Hillary Clinton off the hook.
At all?
Hillary Clinton was the first one with the birth certificate thing. So for people to jump on Trump or anybody there after Hillary Clinton, no, you have to start at the source. She was the one that got that kicked off. As
Agreed.
far as again, as far as I'm concerned, I'm with that documentary, Dreams of My Father. It's very convincing. That dude ain't who he says he is. I put in the chat, if you go back up, I put in a link that anyone can watch. It's still on YouTube now. A C-SPAN 1 hour long talk with this guy named Larry Sinclair. And he said that he had a sexual tryst
Oh yes, I
with a
remember that.
junior senator
Mhm.
from Illinois. They said that they
Mhm.
smoked illegal drugs and they had fellatio.
Yep.
You can hear this man say it for himself, but if you scroll back up, you'll see it for yourself. Well, now he's a member. Apparently, Mr. Sinclair died
Yes,
under
he did.
strange circumstances.
Yes,
So
he did.
everything you said, again, it must be a Mississippi thing, because everything you saying, ma'am, I agree with you 1,000%. But all this stuff is well, for those who choose to look into it. Let me put it like that. This stuff is well known. And but I think that because of the stuff that's going on now with Fauci, he's pretty much done lied his ass off, and I don't think anything's
Yes.
going to come of it. So for Obama to come out and tell the world, yeah, I'm gay. Okay, so what you're saying? I think that's where we are in our country. And I think I once heard a phrase that apathy is the national pastime, not baseball. Nobody in our country really cares about anything. And so this is where we are. And I think until something major happens aside from the pandemic, only then will Americans wake up. But aside from that, it's move along, nothing to see here. So again, I want to thank you for having me on your platform, and salute to your panelists and salute to your chat. All right.
All right, sweetheart. It's good to see you. You know, you're always welcome. You the reason why I'm here. You the reason why you the reason you are. I mean, because if you remember when you was like the one, you were putting everybody on. You know what I mean? Everybody. I mean, Black Spring, myself, several other people. And because of your stance on the whole thing that we were dealing with from 2020 on, I don't want to say it because we're already on a fire rant right now. We did go through a lot together. Your channels were, taken down. I don't know whether anybody is. I know that some of the mods here follow you. I know that for sure. But if anybody would like, and as a matter of fact, if you can stay around, you can share this if you have the ability to on your channel. You can see over in the right-hand side, it'll let you share it. You can stay here with us and we can have the conversation, and you can let your followers come on over as well. But with that said, you were on it. You never let it go. You continued to ride that thing out. And when you did, Now people are coming back around you that were arguing with you. We remember you lost so many people that were some of your mods and other people because they just didn't want to hear what you had to say, and they still went out there and took that candy. And after they took that candy, they got a little tummy ache. 6079 Smith, is that one of your followers, Flow State? Okay,
Yep.
so we'll go ahead and let him up.
Yeah.
Welcome, sir. So if you want to hang out a little bit, Derek, please do. You don't have to be seen because you see, I have a bad hair day that I showed in the very beginning that I'm not going to show again until it's fixed. But with that said, you're welcome to hang out and share with your folks if you want to. Anyone on the chat that does have a channel and that does want to share, you'll have my permission. Go right ahead. Thanks to StreamYard, you can now do that. Flow State, what do you have to add to that?
Man, I don't know. I'm just glad that this stuff is finally getting some air. I think Obama was like the first red pill I ever swallowed that woke me up. Just watching his first campaign and how he's the darling of the media, but he's got a sketchy background in one term in the Senate, and he's too young, and his speeches are basically hypnosis sessions where he doesn't say anything. There's no content in his words, and yeah. And the whole country fell for it.
I fell for it. I mean, you know why I fell for it? I'm going to tell you. Because the cat from Arizona. No, because I've always been conservative. And this was when I was still voting. I don't vote anymore. But when I was still voting, I voted for him because the cat from Arizona, I was going to vote for his little behind Mr. Short Arms, rest his soul.
Oh, what's his name?
Wherever he is.
The war criminal?
Yeah, wherever he is. He drugged the chick from Alaska. And I was like, oh, no, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. I'm not voting for him. So because I was still into the whole voting thing, I was like, well, okay, yeah, he's a great orator, this and that. But as soon as he got in, I was like, something don't feel right about this dude. And I did not have my feelers on early on. But after that, he never got another vote out of me. And after that, everybody, my eyes were open. 6079 Smith W. What you got to add to the party? Anything you want to say?
I don't know if it's necessarily new or original, but I don't think it's talked about enough that in the Hebrew of the Bible, Luke 10:18 is, I beheld Satan as Barak Bama without the O, and you spell his first name with a Q at the end. And if you spell it backwards, you get the agenda. It's Q and Arab.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's
Q and what?
Q and Arab, because his original name is Baraq. Now spell it backwards because the devil likes to take everything and turn it upside down and backwards. And it's Q and Arab. As he speaks about his Christian faith.
Yeah. Well, we were just looking at something the other day, and I don't know whether he would mind if I showed it, but it is a powerful, it's a powerful documentary that was created by Dane Calloway and his wife. It's a very short one compared to some of the other ones that he's had, but he went into it very long, and he validated a lot of things that I had already known and that I'd already been thinking about the whole Statue of Liberty thing. And that is very, very telling. This documentary is very telling. I don't want to play it without his permission because I can get in touch with him. So maybe I will ask him if it's okay and then get his permission, because I don't want to get flagged for playing it, because that'll prevent others from being able to see this that we're doing tonight. But what you just said, it's just all breaking, that's a part of the apocalypse, as it were, because that's meaning just, breaking open the truth. That's really what apocalypse means. Just everybody waking up, getting the truth at the same time.
Can I share you something else that's my own? It's my own thought, and I get a lot of pushback from it.
Why not? Fine. Go ahead.
It's my own theory, but Jesus spoke in allegories or parables. He was trying to convey a message. How more clear could the message be that it's a pair of bulls from Chicago, the bisexual bulls from Chicago, Mike and Barry. Wow. The key to the universe lies in the 42 degrees of a rainbow, and it's the reign of B.O. Barack Obama.
Wow. I like this guy, Flow State. He's a very deep thinker. He can hang out with us anytime. You guys can jump on in. I don't have to narrate or lead or guide. Everybody can just jump on in and talk about what you think and what you feel, because I see there's a few more people that did not get the opportunity to see the video. And because of that, if it's okay with everyone who's seen it once, I'm going to go ahead and get everybody up to speed so that as we're chatting about it, we can all be on the same page, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So let me go on ahead and play that video again. Hopefully it'll allow me to do that. Let me see. Oh, it's giving me the video details. I got to scale it back a little. Let's go back out of here and let's go out of here. It's my BitChute channel.
And once the dust is settled from this topic, we can go over how Tupac was gay too, if you really want to piss people off.
Oh, well, I think, yeah, why not? Why not make it?
Then I can cover Jordan, then they'll really be mad.
Okay.
Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't you do that to me.
I'm not saying he's gay. You should see the research I got. That's part of the Bible. It's Mike and Barry, but it's also Mike and Barry. Jordan born the 48th day, 2-17. This next year, Obama's birthday, the reverse, 8-4, the 217th day. I got a lot of stuff on it. Obama's born 8-4, and then on Jordan's first NBA game, Obama was 8,484 days old. Like
wow.
8,484.
Wow. I love it. That's some good stuff. All right, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and play this video. It's on a commercial right now. And yeah, here we go.
Daily. I make love to men daily. The New York Post reveals of a salacious Obama letter to his ex-girlfriend. Former President Barack Obama wrote a letter to his ex-girlfriend saying over 40 years ago that he, quote,
is that his ex?
daily, but in the imagination.
No, that's his mom.
New York Post. Obama, 21,
no bueno,
wrote to an ex-girlfriend by the name of Alex McNear in November of 1982 that his, quote, mind was androgynous. Now, all of this was in a book by David Garrow. He recently discussed his 2017 biography on the former President Barack Obama, The Rising Star, The Making of Barack Obama. He said this in an interview with Tablet magazine. The letter continues, quote, in regard to homosexuality, I must say that I believe this is an attempt to remove oneself from the present, a refusal perhaps to perpetuate the endless farce of earthly life, closed quote. This again is what Obama wrote to McNear, according to the New York Post. He continues with, you see, I make love to men daily, but in the imagination. My mind is androgynous to a great extent, and I hope to make it more. So until I can think in terms of people, not women as opposed to men, but in returning to the body, I see that I have been made a man, and physically in life I choose to accept that contingency, the letter says. McNear initially redacted one paragraph of the letter about homosexuality when she gave it to Garrow for use in the book. She sold the original letter around the time of the biography's publication, enabling it to end up at Emory University. Garrow told the Tablet on August the 2nd, 2023, in an interview. Garrow also told the Tablet that he sent a friend, Harvey Clear, to the Emory archives to get the copy of the letter, which the university would not allow him to photograph. The New York Post reported that Clear provided it with a copy of the letter's contents. Quote, I'm a historian, not a psychologist, but I think it's public record news that a vast majority of human beings have sexual fantasies, Garrow told the New York Post. Emory University's collection of 9 Obama letters span from 1982 to 1984 after he transferred to Columbia University, according to the university's website. The letters reveal the search of a young man's meaning and identity. Emory University Stuart A. Rose Manuscript Archives and Rare Book Library Director Rosemary McGee said in a statement when the collection was announced in 2017. For Headlines with a Voice, this has been the Lockhart News Brief.
Nice video.
So when we are looking at that, this is the basis of what we're chatting about tonight. It is various topics that we're going to be dealing with. That's one of them. And then I do want to talk about the great amount of money that it was now exposed about how much money the NIH received and which people received how much during the time of the whole, well, from 2011 or 2010 forward is what was captured. But I'm sure that it was before then. They were receiving a lot of money, a whole lot of money, whole lot of dough. And they did not want to, abide by a FOIA request. And so they ended up being sued to get the information out. So we're all going to talk about that as being one of those topics as well. this is the time that we are beginning to see all of the stuff revealed. Shaq, welcome, 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 sir. How you doing? If I know Shaq, there he is. Hey, Shaq.
Peace, peace, shalom. How you doing there?
I'm doing pretty good. So you just saw that video. What are your thoughts?
Man, I just came on. I came on tail end when you was playing the video, so I really didn't catch all of them. I was trying to connect.
Well, apparently, there is there was a biography that was written in 2017, published in 2017, and it was about Barack Obama's life. With that, there was a bevy of letters from 1982 to 84 that was written back and forth to his girlfriend at the time, and there were lots of confessions and things that he had been experiencing. And one of them was that he had fantasies of, being with the same type of person. And so that's what that's about. And but again, it's something that we've always known, but didn't really want to say it. Cause it's like, you see people like Joan Rivers here today, go tomorrow. You be like, I didn't want to touch that. Cause it ain't that serious to me. You can put stuff where you want to put it, just don't put it near me. That's the kind of thought process we have.
Well, look here. When you get in office, and one of your first tasks is to take sodomy off the records as a crime. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what do you think comes next? You know what I mean?
Purpose for that.
So,
there was a purpose for that. And then what do you think about it being revealed to this extent now? I mean, because it's like all over. Like we said, this is New York Post, but the book's been out since 17. There have been rumors since before then. I think Derek C. Williams put it all together pretty well when he sort of, summed it all up, all these different occurrences over the past several years. And the question that I had for the panel earlier was, why do you think they did this now?
That's a great question.
You trust them?
I
Y'all go
definitely like
ahead
to
and
hear
jump
you
in.
guys' point of view. You gentlemen, you guys' point of view.
I mean,
Does
I don't think
anybody
that
else? Go
I
ahead.
don't think this is I don't know why this is coming out now, but I don't think that this is. If you look at Barbara Bush, that's a dude. Like the senior's wife.
Dude look like a lady.
I did a video or two on it, and I mean, she's a freaking little linebacker. So
she does look like a dude. She did look like a dude.
So I don't know what the agenda is with the timing, but I can see throughout the presidents in my lifetime a progression, right? Like you got Bush Senior in, who's the head of CIA, and he's got a dude wife, and then he's followed up by a president that's publicly humiliated through the impeachment thing.
That was a very good friend of his.
Right.
Not whatchamfigum, but Bush and Obama, the family, they were very close. Yeah. Prior to him becoming, who he was.
Bush selected Clinton, is my understanding of it.
Bush selected Clinton or Bush selected Obama? Because
Clinton.
Bush and Obama were very close.
Well, probably all of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, but he had listen, wasn't there a big thing that they allegedly said a kid did where you saw all these people that were related? And Obama is one of those people who were related to a previous president. Do you guys remember that?
All of them are related to the Queen somehow.
Yeah. Oh, well, because you know why.
Because
we're gonna find out in a minute. We're gonna really find out in a minute how much it's related to the Queen. The next story we're gonna go into, unless anybody else has anything to add this one before we go into the next one, because I want to hear everybody's view on this one coming up.
I was going to say about the Queen and Obama. Obama's the sixth king because Viking is the letter VI, like six, and they're the purple people eaters, and they say that the crown family eats children.
Okay, so the next story that we're going to be looking at is the NIH officials received. Boy, oh boy, I tell you what, 6079 Smith W. Hoo-wee. Here we go, you guys. This here is from the Epoch Times, and it's the NIH officials received $325 million in royalties from third parties over 11 years. This comes from a watchdog. Now, what is amazing is, well, it's really not amazing, because it's something that we've all known. Ironically, again, it's like they're just taking their Felix bag of tricks, turning the whole thing upside down, and shaking all the truth out that we've all been sort of, with this undercurrent telling everybody. We've all said these things in one way or another, but this right here is truth. This is a story that was done, and I'm going to go ahead and read. I'm trying to make it bigger. Okay, so drug makers in 31 foreign countries, including China, Russia, and Belarus, paid hundreds of millions of dollars in royalties to top officials at the National Institutes of Health, or the NIH, including former NIH director Dr. Francis Collins, former National Institute for Allergy and Infectious Diseases, Dr. Anthony Fauci, and former National Cancer Institute director, Dr. Douglas Lowy. New information about the third-party royalty payments was made public August 9th by OpenTheBooks.com, the Illinois-based nonprofit government watchdog that sued the NIH in federal court in 2022 after the agency refused to accommodate a Freedom of Information FOIA request to disclose the names of the firms behind the royalties, patents involved, and individual payment amounts. OpenTheBooks.com is represented in the federal FOIA litigation by Judicial Watch. It goes on to say that newly released documents reveal for the first time the names of the companies that paid NIH scientists $325 million on 56,000 transactions in third-party royalties between September 2009 and October 2020. OpenTheBooks.com said in a statement provided to the Epoch Times, the payment went to the agency itself and more than 2,400 official researchers and scientists that were employed by the NIH. Under current policy, NIH employees may receive up to $150,000 annually in outside royalty payments for their work that's commercialized by private firms. Any payment above those thresholds goes directly to the NIH. The NIH annually awards $30 billion in federal research grants to more than 56,000 recipients. Now, the taxpayers' largesse buys plenty of friends and enormous influence across the entire U.S. healthcare complex, the scientific research, drug, therapeutic, and healthcare industries. This comes from openbook.com, as they said in a statement. Doctors Fauci and Collins are the most prominent recipients of payments, both having served in their respective government position for many years. They also served as key White House medical policy advisors during the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition, Dr. Fauci has feuded during Senate hearings with Senator Rand Paul over the former NIAID chief's role during the pandemic in suppressing medical research and analyses, identifying China's Wuhan Institute of Virology laboratory as the likely source of the novel coronavirus. Dr. Fauci and Collins promoted that claim that the novel coronavirus came from bat meat sold at an open air market near the Wuhan lab. Dr. Fauci also defended the secrecy surrounding the royalty payments. And in one exchange, Mr. Paul said, quote, over the period of time from 2010 to 2016, 27,000 royalty payments were paid to 18,000 NIH employees. We know that not because you told us, but because we forced you to tell us through the FOIA. Now, the over $193 million was given to those 18,000 employees. He asks, can you tell me that you have not received a royalty from any entity that you ever oversaw the distribution of money in research grants? Dr. Fauci responded, I don't know as a fact, but I doubt it. In fact, Dr. Fauci was also the highest paid federal employee when he retired last year, he received 37 royalty payments between 2010 and 2021, in addition to his official salary of $480,000 per annum, according to the documents disclosed by the OpenTheBooks.com. The payments for Fauci included 14 payments from Ansell Corporation and immunology tolls intended for scientific research and payments from 2012 to 2016. He received another 15 payments that were made to him by Santa Cruz Biotechnology from 2011 to 2021. There were also 8 payments to Dr. Fauci from Sharon Corporation. OpenTheBooks.com stated, quote, contracted with Dr. Fauci's NIAID to support the development and production, of a vaccine, get this, for avian influenza bird flu. Fauci said information generated under this task order will be important for preparing our nation and the world against new influenza viruses with pandemic potential, close quote. Now, here's another quote. Novartis acquired Sharon Corporation in 2016. Since 2008, Novartis received $2.3 billion in contract payments from multiple federal agencies, including $17 million in contracts and $15 million in grants from the NIH. This was during a period when Fauci was receiving the Sharon royalty payments. Dr. Collins, who headed the NIH from 2009 to 2021, received 21 payments between 2010 and 2021. Among them were 4 payments to Dr. Collins from Specialty Laboratories, which provides biological testing services and was acquired by Quest Diagnostics in 2007. The company received $40.1 million on 403 contract payments from many U.S. agencies since 2008, according to OpenTheBooks.com. Now, Dr. Collins got 12 payments from GenDx, a firm founded in 2000 by 2 former NIH employees involved in genetics research. And if you guys, this is me talking as a narrator, if you guys look up GenDx, you will be amazed at what they can do when it comes to genes, when it comes to detecting if somebody is going to be sick, if they had something way back in their family, they can tell you so much. So it's not a shock that they were a part of this whole scheme. Now, the next portion says the company has received $5 million on 155 contract payments, mostly from NIH, since 2008. The statement said. Now, it's important for you guys to note this one important thing. It's important for us to note this. With the work that they do at GeneDx, they can actually tell you who is going to respond like X, Y, or Z. Who's going to respond? What ethnicity? What genome? What group of individuals are going to act like this with this? What's going to happen with this if you put it here? They have studied so much. When I reviewed this company here, I was absolutely amazed. Dr. Lowy, the NCI deputy director, who also has served as acting director on multiple occasions, was paid 192 separate royalties since 2009 from 32 companies. One of the Lowy payments came from the Wuhan Institute of Biological Products Company Limited, a subsidiary of the state-owned pharmaceutical company Sinopharm, according to the OpenTheBooks.com. In 2016, the company moved next to the Wuhan Institute of Virology and collaborates with that lab. In total, this institute made 60 royalty payments to the NIH scientists during the period of 2009 to 2019, the statement continues. Now, Lowy received 33 payments from Merck and GlaxoSmithKline, which used Dr. Lowy's inventions in products known as Gardasil, Gardasil 9, Cervarix. In 2021 alone, Gardasil and Gardasil 9 generated $1.5 billion in sales for Merck, in addition to Sinopharm and 33 other Chinese firms that made royalty payments to the NIH and its employees. Russia's Pokrov Biologics plant made 20 payments. In Belvituny Farm of Belarus, they made 4 payments. This is an unstable veterinarian company. There's a quote here. In a country with a reputation for rabid corruption, Belarus is a puppet satellite of Russia, taking hostile actions against NATO allies, the author of this piece says, where journalists are imprisoned. OpenTheBooks.com said of the Belarusian company. A spokesperson for the NIH didn't respond when the Epoch Times reached them for comment. The purpose of reading that is that we've got to have context with everything that we are talking about. And that right there was a vault full. It was an absolute vault full of information. With that said, you guys tell me what you think.
I think Merck is a fantastic name for that company. They actually own a whole bunch of land, just like probably less than a mile away from me, right behind the middle school and high school over here.
Wow.
And it's all surrounded by barbed wire fence um, and like guard stations. And if you look in, there's nothing visible from any of the roads around it going on in there. But
let me say something about this.
Go right ahead.
Me and Shaq were talking about this thing. As a matter of fact, Frank last night too. Come think about it. We were talking about Popeye was giving out a chicken sandwich special today, and we were talking
Again,
about
that trick will never work.
But we were talking about it in regard to avian flu, bird flu, whatever. And we said, well, wouldn't this be good if they just told people to get a chicken sandwich to put influenza or bird flu or whatever in the chicken, right? You know. And this letter came, this thing with, because I saw this earlier, 325. Was it 325 million? And I said to myself, well, it just confirmed what we already knew. But a lot of things been going on. Like last week, you had the Henrietta Lacks case, the sales and all that. Ben Crumpin was on the case, Henrietta Lacks. But they suing about that, but they should be suing the University of Johns Hopkins, which is a very notorious hospital in Baltimore. They should be suing them because the hospital were the ones who allowed this. They've been running a lot of experiments, Operation Doc Winter and so forth and like out of that hospital. So they had a study, like a drill there. So when we see this stuff, we always got to fact who's funding it. And yes, Derek Williams, you are right. The new head is a lesbian. I've recognized her. Her name is Jean Mazzaro. Yes, she does love mass lockdowns and forced vaccine. That is true. As a matter of fact, they've been talking about a new variant called the EG something. I forget the name of the damn thing, but whatever the case may be. And just one more thing, Ms. Lockhart. This is kind of like going into obscurity a little bit, but if you realize they've been talking about what with the young athletes lately, heart conditions, right? Well, it's mighty funny that the people who are responsible for these heart conditions now have a medication that's going to help with what? Sudden spikes in heart problems. I said, oh boy. Well, that's interesting. Hegelian dialect, create the problem, be the solution.
Hegelian dialectic is such an important thing for people to understand if they have never heard that before. Definitely write it down and Google it after the show.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
But I got a couple things on this. First of all, I would push back against, you're talking about how much stuff they can do with genes, and I kind of want to, I don't know if disagree is probably too strong a word, but I'm kind of suspicious that they're bluffing. And they want us to think that they have all these capabilities so that they can then promote things that otherwise people would never go for. For instance, whatever that test is they do on pregnant women where they check to see if the baby's going to be deformed or have any disabilities like that.
Amniocentesis tests?
Yeah, I've heard several women say that they were told their kids would be retarded and that they should consider an abortion. And then the women did not have an abortion and their kids came out perfectly normal. So
yeah, I've heard of stuff like that happening before.
Right. That just throws a little suspicion into the gears for me.
Well, when we talk about suspicions, let's take a look at the Henrietta Lacks cells and where they're being used for. Just recently, the United States decided to legalize using cells for human consumption. The term is immortalized cells. I can't say it any other way than this. This right here is from the NIH, I can definitely leave this inside of the liner notes for this, as I would definitely do anyway. But if we're looking at the immortalized cells for human consumption, let's look up HeLa cells. Does anybody know what HeLa cells are?
Mm-mm.
HeLa cells are Henrietta Lacks cells. This piece that we're talking about is using her cells for human consumption. In other words, the meat that they just approved to be used for human consumption is from the cells from the Black woman Henrietta Lacks. The need to produce immortal food relevant cell lines is one of the most pressing challenges of cellular agriculture. The field, which seeks to produce meat and other animal products via tissue engineering and synthetic biology, immortal cell lines have a long, complicated story, from the first recognized immortal human cell lines taken from Henrietta Lacks to today, where they are used to assay toxicity, produce therapeutics to the future, where they could be used to create meat without harming an animal. Although work in immortal cell lines began more than 50 years ago, there are few existing cell lines made of species and cell types appropriate for cultured meat. Cells in cultured meat will be eaten by consumers, therefore, cultured meat lines will also require unique attributes not selected for in other cell line applications. Specifically, cultured meat cell lines will need to be approved as safe for consumption as food. And they've already done this, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so proliferate and differentiate efficiently at industrial scales and have desirable taste, texture, and nutrition characteristics for the consumers. This paper defines what cell lines are needed, the existing methods to produce new cell lines, and their limitations, and the unique consideration of cell lines used in cultured meat. The introduction is here when you guys go down to read it, and then how they're going to implement those cells in creating the tissue and how they do it. It's all here. So for us to think that it was a shock for them to, first of all, allow everybody to even know about Henrietta Lacks, to hail this whole entire situation as, you know, a major breakthrough in medical technology and all that other stuff by even creating the movie. This is that predictive programming that
Soylent Green.
well, Derek talked about. Yeah, well, Soylent Green. But the deal is that her cell lines were cancerous. And so now that they have given everything the green light, this is her cell lines. This is her. I hope everybody understands what I'm saying.
What's the backstory with her? Who is she?
It was an African American woman. She was actually an Aboriginal woman. And she had a cancer that was a very unique cervical cancer. And while she was in the hospital, they found that her cells were doing some amazing things, reduplicating and doing all kinds of stuff at unbelievable breakneck speed. She was in a white hospital for a moment, but then they took her out and then they put her in there and then they didn't let the family in. Inevitably, she died. Okay. She died and they took her cells and they have been using her cells. This was back from the 1940s. They had been using her cells in medical research ever since this woman was in the hospital. They took her cells out of her body and they began to use them for medical research at a time where she was sick. She was ill. When she died, they just went rabid. They went crazy. They took everything and they just started using her cells. So now it's called HeLa cells. This HeLa cells has been being used for so long that they've just recently, as recent as this week, if I'm not mistaken, King BJ, was it this week that they went ahead and paid her family, her grandchildren or something like that, some money?
That was last week, yeah.
Last week. They went ahead and paid them, but these are my bottom line is this is the tissue that they have gotten the approval to make the near meat from. Her cancer cells. I hope everybody is wrapping their heads around this.
That's
You
so
know,
fucking outrageous.
I hope everybody is literally, I hope y'all are wrapping your head around this.
And they use the cells for the vaccine, for that vaccine too.
They've used it for vaccines.
yep.
They've used it they've used it to do this meat thing now. They've used it, and now they've just come out recently and they said we don't have to tell you that the meat that you're eating is not necessarily meat. It's just it looks like chicken. It's a chicken patty. It's chicken. So it tastes like
Could
chicken.
I
So
say this, Ms. Lockhart?
eat it. Go ahead.
Ms. Lockhart, let me bring some up.
Go ahead. Go
Shaq,
ahead.
Shaq, don't me and Shaq have conversations about this all the time. And we were talking about this actually earlier. And we were talking about it is so easy to do biological genetic warfare when you do this stuff. These you got to even have a, like you said, Rob, your mind got to be that of a demon to think like that. I mean, you know, that is way over the top. But it also shows you that the conspiracy theorists is betting 100. Because daggone everything we saying, that stuff coming to light like boom, 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 boom. And they just keep showing you. And then they tell you some more. Oh yeah, we were doing it the whole time. But we didn't want to tell you back then. But now we just starting the whole book at you. We're gonna let you know what's happening and what you can do about it now.
I mean, we gotta leave room though for the possibility that this is all a psychological warfare tactic.
Yeah, it is.
What bet, like, you know, if you know that there are people like us who are going to be out there like looking under rocks and stuff, what better way to deal with us than to throw some shit out there, like, and you know that stuff with kids is one of the ones that they use, right? Because people get really worked up about things happening to kids. I could see this being one too. Now I'm not, like, I could see it going both ways. I just think that people with this sort of thing, people tend to either be all in on it or all out on it, and lack the nuance.
Well, let me bring something. Let me bring something down right here. I just want to break this down. It's just me, Felicia, Frank, Shaq, everybody, you. Just put it this way: there's a whole lot of people that when you talk to them, like especially you know, it could be at the gym anywhere. They be like, "Man, you really believe that? I read it." You sent it to him. He said, "Did you read it last week?" No, I'm not gonna read nothing crazy. Why don't you read it? It could be happening to your child. So people are very quote unquote
And
deaf.
yeah, I mean, I kind of already think, you know, I haven't eaten McDonald's in 3.5 years for a reason. And also, like, when's the last time anybody here saw a new cemetery being built?
I haven't seen one, but I tell you what, they got.
I had that same thought process during the last 3 years when they kept saying that there was an insurmountable amount of people, which I believe that did pass away. My question is, where are they putting them? Where are they going?
They gotta.
And if you think it's strange here, what about like China, for instance? Where are they putting those commodities?
Commodity? No, he didn't. What are you saying, BJ?
But I will say this: there's a thing they had called hydrolyne alkalosis or something like that. It was like a
that's what I was gonna bring up, you know, that hydroponic or something.
So
hydroponic or something, right?
Yeah. They could be doing that. I mean,
they could be, but that's an expensive thing, though. That's expensive. The gal that started it, she started it with her research out in North Carolina, and then she went up to Washington State, and that's where she is now. Washington, Oregon, and a couple of other places, they literally changed the laws with regards to burial specifically because of what she was doing. And they and now they're turning it into fertilizer, as it were. That sludge becomes fertilizer. So now when you're eating bell pepper or you eating a tomato, you could be eating somebody's granny.
Hell yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Now, what I did want to talk about, because we were also talking about the food product, the whole food thing, right? So dealing with all of the food, I got to bring this to you guys because here's the deal. What you just said earlier, King BJ, was the level of evil, right? But the reason why we need to peer into this is because a lot of us do not function like that. We don't function with that type of evil mindset, right?
Yeah.
And because we do not function with that type of evil mindset, That's the reason why when we have information, we need to heed it, research it for ourselves. Don't believe anything from anyone, including me. Research it for yourself. And then you make the decision as to the validity of said information, because not knowing that your enemy really is evil can harm you. The next story that we're going to look at is exactly an example of that. A while ago, everybody was talking about appeal. Does everybody remember talking about the appeal where they're putting that coating on the food? It's supposed to be, it's literally a nano coating. And it's got a few other things in there as well. Some stuff that we don't want to put in our body that they claim that they were able to put in that, right? Does anybody in the chat know anything about APEEL, or anyone here on the panel?
Mm-mm.
How about you, King BJ? It's a coating that goes on fruits and vegetables. It just came out and everybody was just losing their mind. They were just going crazy. Crystal Shaman says it here. She goes, yes, the permanent peel. It's on the permanent. It's like a permanent coating that they're putting on avocados, other fresh fruits and vegetables to prevent it from going bad is what it's called. But it has some bad stuff in it. Now, okay, appeal. There you go. There you go. You said it,
Yeah.
Sovereign Soul, Unchained Mind. Appeal.
Yeah,
I
we thought
do.
it was wax on the. You talking about like the apples and stuff? How the apples so shiny, they don't, they sit long in the fridge,
Mhm,
sit there and stuff like that. They cold. Yeah.
mhm. He just hit the nail on the proverbial head. Appeal. I do. It's from Bill Gates. I think you're absolutely right. Sovereign Soul, Unchained Mind. You're absolutely right. And if you guys remember, do you? Okay, so now that I got you on the screen there, Sovereign Soul, when just recently, do you remember them talking about it just recently as if it's something brand new, right? Let's go in ahead and look at this. So here is appeal. First off, I'm going to first of all show you guys the Kroger brand stores. That's what I want to show you guys, Kroger. The Kroger companies, can you guys see this? Yes, you can. The Kroger companies operates grocery retail stores under the following banners: supermarkets, Kroger, Ralph's, Dillon's, Smith's, King Supers, Fry's, QFC, Market City, Owens, JC, Payless, Baker's. It looks like Gerber's, Harris Teeter, Pick and Save, Metro Market, Mariano's, and multiple department stores, Fred Meyer. The purpose of me reading that is so that you know. Now, everyone was talking about appeal this year. Let me take you to another page because I love to connect the dots. You guys know I have to connect them. Look at this. I just gave you the name of the stores for Kroger. This article comes from September 18th, 2019. Cincinnati and Santa Barbara, California, September 18th, 2019. America's largest grocery retailer and Appeal Sciences. A 2019 CNBC Distributor 50 and a Fast Company Most Innovative Company today announced that Appeal's longer lasting avocados will be available in more than 1,100 Kroger stores in the United States. Let that sink in before we get into the article. Does everybody see where we just went? Put a 1 in the chat if you follow me. Everybody put a 1 in the chat if you're following what I'm saying. We just got through hearing about it at the top of the year, so everybody's alerts were already up. Oh my gosh, look for that little symbol. Look for it saying APEEL on the avocado, or look for it saying this, or look for the apple. Look, baby. Hello. Y'all get me. Crystal got me. Never B got me. Hey, Never B. Coach Sherry got it. Okay. Basically, if you've shopped at any of these stores prior to the knowledge that Bill Gates had done this at the top of this year, you were already purchasing and eating it, and things were being downloaded at that time. Do you feel me? Everybody feels it. Hey, Espresso. So Since 2019, this was their rollout. And all of the stores that I just mentioned, all of the stores, oh my, this, yeah. So basically, they just told you about it, but they already announced it here. Kroger will also introduce 2 new produce categories, appeal asparagus and appeal limes. That's the reason why a while back I bought some limes and I sliced them. I was like, what is this garbage? It was garbage. It was like I was slicing grandma's fruit that used to sit on the table. Remember how they used to have the fruit in the bowl that was not real fruit, but it just looked pretty to sit on the dining room table? I was cutting. I was like, what is this? I had no clue. I didn't know. And that's the reason why I've always said whenever we cover all of the recalls and all of that, I always tell everybody, just bless your food, you guys, because you don't know. You don't know what's what. All of these things that we've been eating, we didn't know that this ice cream was like this, or we didn't know that this lettuce was like that. But bless God, he's here to protect us. And his word does say that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. So with that in mind, nobody knew. I didn't know that Kroger and all these other stores that are associated with them under their banner had already started doing this back in 2019. They rolled it out and put it out like this in the public to say, well, we put it out. You didn't know? So Kroger is excited. This is a quote. Kroger is excited to offer more customers appeal avocados and introduce longer lasting limes, asparagus, marking another milestone on our journey to achieve our zero hunger, zero waste vision, said Frank Romero, Kroger's vice president of produce. Appeal's innovative food-based solution has proven to extend the life of perishable produce, reducing food waste in transport, in our retail stores, and in our customers' homes. I guess I got to go ahead and put a link down below so that everybody can see what's in Appeal. I guess that's what we'd have to do, because I feel like if I read it right now, it may be information overload, but I want you to understand that this is not what they've told you it is, especially since none of us knew until right now that it was out in 2019. So basically, if you don't want to take a jabberoonie, you don't have to worry about the jabberoonie, because they already jabberoonied you. You've already got the jabberoonie. And the meat that they're pushing out, that's the jabberoonie. You may not have thought you were going to go get the candy bar, but you're going to get the candy bar whether you want it or not. I hope you guys hear me.
So,
because this is criminal.
Is there an action to be taken out of this information, I guess?
I guess the only thing is for you to, if you've got your own seeds, put them in the ground. Put them in the ground. And that should tell everybody why all of a sudden they came out just recently in certain states and said, okay, well, you can't grow any fruits, you can't grow any vegetables. And if you do, guess what? We'd like for you to register your particular produce.
Right.
Oh, there is the executive producer. His name is Steve Willis. Welcome, brother. He said, read it. Read it. I love you so much, Steve. Hey, it's good to see you. Okay. Yeah. I guess we could, or I could just go ahead and put it in the link, because we're already at an hour now. But my only point is, but you know how we be going Flow State over on other channels. Why can't we do it? They be doing it. Maybe we could stay. Maybe we could beat Harold Washington. You could beat Harold Washington, Jesse. Maybe we could, but nonetheless, yeah. So none of us really knew, but that's the reason why now they're saying, hey, you can grow your own vegetable garden, but we want to know about it. Tell us about it. We're going to give you a stick to put in the front yard that says you're growing fresh vegetables here.
If you see anybody with one of those fucking sticks in their yard, you have a duty.
To do what to it?
I mean, I'm not going to say it on a live stream, but you got to do something to them. We got to get these people out of the gene pool.
So to the people who would put a stick in their yard to say,
I registered my vegetable garden with the federal government. Why did you do that? What could possibly come out of that that's good?
Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, just go ahead and tell us all about it. Yeah, we're going food, we're going this, we're going. Look, Crystal, one of your subs said, growing food in the forests. So incognito, to have it incognito. Go in the forest and grow it and have it incognito. Hey,
I've been
Jeffrey.
look. I've been taking all like any tomatoes that are bad or whatever. I just chuck them in the woods behind the house. I've been doing it for years now, and so I've got like some wild. I got tomatoes covered. Is what I'm saying.
Put your seeds in the ground. Derek C. Williams says, there the authorities routinely mess with the Amish. I get a lot of stuff from them. I bet it's good stuff too. Probably doesn't taste anything like the stuff we're eating. If you're eating Amish fruits and vegetables. Anybody? What's up, King BJ? I see you up there. You thinking, what's up?
Man, daggone chemical biological warfare. I'm thinking about, well, in that case, if you look at it, this is like the lady put in the chat, register the government, then they can spray chemtrails on it. Or they can already have the stuff in there with it. So, very diabolical. Got to say that.
At the very least, they can tax it, right? Like your tomato tax.
I'm glad you said that. Tax is the right word. Because just when I was in Richmond today, where I live anyway, just riding down the street, and they had a gun buyback. And then I would just say, wow, it's a gun buyback. And then I look in.
How much were they paying? Do you recall?
I mean, a church was hosting it. I don't know how much they were paying. I'll find that out later. I mean, it just was going on today. I just happened to see the sign out there. Plenty of police out there too, by the way. But a church was hosting it. And I said, oh, dang. And then I said, I looked online and I looked at this good old note and it says, $500. And they're trying to what? If you pay a gun on, they're trying to make a gun tax now for some of the rifles, 1,000% gun tax. And that would mean if you pay $500 on a gun, you'll pay $5,000. Now, check this out. If they can do that, right? They can say, hey, register this guy in the government. Well, how much are my seeds going to cost? That'd be $50. But we put a tax on it, 5%. So if they can do that, then they're going to do that. So anything they do, they're going to come back and say, hey, it's just taxation as they have in D.C. without representation. Actually, they tell you got representation, but they representing the big business. They ain't representing you. So that's like that.
It's a barrier to entry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they use taxes and registrations and all these things as barriers to entry already in the market. Like if you look at the underlying, like about the NIH article talking about the private royalties and stuff, mechanically our government or our economic system already operates. It's fascist in its mechanics. It's not in its window dressing. It's presented as capitalist, but it's very much to be a winner in the economy. You're either staying kind of regional or you're getting government cheese, subsidies, or contracts. One or the other.
Government cheese.
You can't get to be a massive company unless you have government support in one way or another.
Government cheese. They used to make the best them big old blocks of cheese back in the 70s.
Government cheese. Lord, all that nonsense.
I didn't even know that was a real thing. I wasn't born until the next decade.
The big old blocks of government cheese used to make the best grilled cheese sandwiches. I'm just saying. I'm just telling you. They wasn't up on all that. I'm telling you, boy. Now you get you some good sourdough bread and take that big old smather of it, just slap the block on there and put it in the skillet. Boy, you make some good stuff. Listen, this is the Bill Gates backed startup is fighting the world of hunger, okay, by making your avocados last longer. And then we're also going to look at this other piece that says that it's toxic food. So this is this. Let's. I hope it doesn't have any goofy music in it, because to be candid with you, this explains why those avocados that I threw in the trash can looked like this right here. If you can see my mouse scrabbling over the ugly one, and did not look like that. They did not look like this. The outside was corroded, and when I got them home, the outside was okay. But when I got them home and sliced them open to make guacamole, they were horrifying. I threw them all in the trash can. I mean, it was like, what in the Freddy Krueger is going on here? It was really bad. They were
Good
bad.
news. Your food won't go bad as fast if it's not actually food.
There you go.
Businesses.
There you go. It won't go bad if it's not actually food. You're absolutely right. So I want to take a look at this, but I don't want to hear the ads. I'm going to block that out. And let me see. I hope they don't have any music in it. Hey, did you guys, by the way, did anybody see that Russia has now said all the no 5G towers can be near any humans? Did you guys see that? I think you may have sent that to me, BJ. Did you send that to me, BJ? It was Russia says no 5G towers can be near people. They can't be near any humans. They have to be far, far, far away. Far away. Okay, let me see if there's have any music.
Post-harvest spoilage in your home. Joke being avocado. Not now, not now, not now. Now those are the poster child for post-harvest spoilage in your home. Joke being avocado. Not now, not now, not now. Now too late. And then with our product, we can make that joke something more like not now, now.
Now he's got music. I can't have it because they'll hit my channel for that. They've been hitting me lately for that. Even though I use it under fair use, they still hit me. Even though I'm talking over it like they say, I still get hit. Okay, so this is what he's talking about. He's talking about how awesome it is. It's a disruptor, and it doesn't, it doesn't make things. Man, even the watermelons, they're tampering with the water. They're terrible. This fruit is awful because I have purchased fruit from Kroger and did not understand why. But I thank you, Most High, for the blood. That's all I gotta say. So, what I want to do is I also want to take a glance at, and they always show us this, right? It's always this. It's always that.
Yeah, the stock hunger footage.
Yeah, it's always dig it in a garbage
Please
can.
donate $3 a month to save little Susie from starvation.
Mbutu. Here's Mbutu. Mbutu, save him. Save Mbutu. Send $3 for Mbutu. I mean, leave Mbutu and their fruit alone. You can go over to Africa and have better fruit than this. No, that's what it looks like when you get it to the house. When you get it to the house, it looks like that. You take it from the store to the house, and that's how it looks. So, I just have to keep saying over and over again, bless what you eat. Make sure that if you can grow it yourself, grow it yourself. Do the tomato throw. Do what Flow State been doing.
I recommend the tomato throw, the apple throw. You can just start chucking shit in the backyard.
How often should you do it, Flow State?
Every chance you get. And then especially if you don't live, like if you've got an HOA that's going to be up your ass, then do it sparingly. But if you're like me and you live sort of on the outskirts of town and you don't really care anyways about policies, then throw everything. I've got tomatoes growing like just randomly all over the side of the house. It looks like weeds until you get up close to it.
Oh my God. I can only imagine. They'd be like, what's that on the side? What you doing? Oh, nothing. I don't know. Something out there growing. Well, are you going to cut it down? Yeah, maybe I will. You never know. You never know. Probably.
I threw it on the side of the house mostly that's not visible to anyone except for that poor neighbor on this side. And you know what? He can deal with it.
You'll be all right.
He'll probably want some tomatoes.
Would you share them with him? Is he nice?
I would, and he is. He's an older guy, single older guy. His wife died not that long ago, but he before the tomatoes started sprouting, we had chickens. That was where the chickens were set up for my chicken ordeal. And now that the chickens have all been eaten by raccoons, but anyways, yeah, I'd give him eggs and stuff when we had chickens, and so I'll certainly give him tomatoes.
See how I'm so ignorant. I did not know that raccoons would eat a chicken.
They will fuck them up immediately.
Oh my God.
And chickens are not a viable species without humans. They have no survival instincts at all.
Because they're not real. They're not real.
Birds are not real.
No, those weren't created in nature. Those, are you kidding me? They literally be grubbing up on the chicken, be sitting back there petting their belly. They be back there petting their belly. They done ate up your chicken and they back there sitting up against the trash can, tapping their stomach, talking about, "Whoo, Flow State, that was something good."
Right.
With a little toothpick in their hands. So I wish I could have some barbecue sauce for that chicken.
God, I went through such an ordeal with these raccoons. I did like a whole little mini video series on my channel. I got a playlist that's about the raccoon saga and my war with them.
Well, I'm gonna go over to your channel and pull that up next. I want to see the war with the war on the roses.
Really excited to kill these raccoons. I was so pissed at them. And then I pussied out.
Why? Why did you stop? Why did you give up?
Because the poor little fuckers were so defeated looking in the cage. I got one of those cage traps, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it to the little bastards. So instead, I spent like my whole evening and half a tank of gas
Lord have
in the
mercy.
pickup truck, driving the first one up like 11 miles away and letting it go in someone else's neighborhood. And then the next night, when I caught the next one, I took it the same spot in the same parking lot, so maybe the little assholes could still be home even in the neighborhood.
Oh God!
I'm ashamed of myself.
Oh my God! Oh my gosh! So you just so you just dumped them someplace else so somebody else could get them.
Yep.
You just weren't gonna deal with it no more. As long as they weren't in your yard.
My plan was to kill them. I'm not kidding. I was truly excited to kill them because I bought chickens. They got them. I bought another batch of chickens. They got them. By that point, I was done with these things. I was looking forward to killing them. But I'm not allowed to own a gun.
Right.
So it becomes a more personal interaction. And yeah, I couldn't do it. So.
Okay, well, we've got the chickens and the raccoons part 1. So after I read this, we're going to be looking into it because you piqued my curiosity. There's just no way that I'm gonna let you talk about some chickens and some raccoons and not join the conversation, because this here, I got to understand this. I want to know all about it, everything about it. So as you guys can see, what we pulled up on the screen so far is the toxic food. It says toxic food, more toxic foods. I didn't think it was possible. The article reads, have you ever heard of Appeal produce coating technology? Until recently, it says, neither had I. Appeal's primary product, Edipil, is a layer of processed fatty acids sprayed on the outside of everything from lemons to pineapples to lock in freshness and prevents fruits and vegetables from going bad. Here is a little click here. It says Appeal, which according to websites is impossible to wash off, is already applied to fresh fruits and vegetables in 65 countries. Here's the link. Now, can I wash Appeal off? It says, of course you cannot. Countries selling produce coated with Edipil, Appeal's leading product, including the United States, Canada, Germany. No one's benign. Everybody's getting it. The United Kingdom, France, Italy, Peru, Spain, Sweden, Norway, China, Australia, South Africa, Poland, and Japan. In the European Union, the United Kingdom, Appeal is currently limited to fruit with peels that are not typically eaten. Avocado, citrus fruit, papaya, mango, banana, pomegranate, and melons. In all other countries, Edipil and other Appeal products are approved for spraying on all fruits and vegetables. Mercy. Oh, mercy. It says, I was shocked how quickly and quietly Appeal's Edipil has suddenly become a part of our lives with no information campaign or consent requested from the shoppers. And that's you and that's me, buddy. So exactly what is Edipil? Are Edipil products safe? Keep reading for more. Well, below you'll find ways that you can take action today to raise awareness. Add your name to a new petition that obviously didn't go nowhere, because I believe this article was dated 2018. Yeah, 2023. Okay, so 2023. So this article that I just pulled up is 2023. But did we or did we not just pull up a 2019 article that referenced something from 2018? Yes, we did. Much to this article's chagrin. Yeah, we've already, that would explain a lot, wouldn't it? It would explain a lot. It says, we'll be providing updates on this topic as we learn more and hear more from you, our community. Sign up for my newsletter to keep up with what we're learning. Okay. Down the rabbit hole. For decades, we've been sold the idea that toxic food is safe and even health promoting. Just look at the history of cigarettes. Unless concerned citizen scientists and health professionals go down a rabbit hole of research of their own, it's impossible to get straight answers. It says here that my team and I went down the rabbit hole to compare Appeal's PR-friendly message with facts. Appeal says their goal is to reduce food waste by coating fruits and vegetables with an edible layer of fatty acids, which prevents the food from oxidizing. In other words, fruit won't go bad. As is so often the case with proprietary industrial products like toxic perfumes. Read more in my blog on microtoxins, perfumes, natural flavors, and other food additives. That the actual ingredients and appeal are far from clear unless you do your own research. The only details about what is used in appeal is listed on their website. Here's a product information sheet. I'm going to leave this down below. It'll be in the description once this is produced and put out. Other sources of information from the company itself. And by the way, you may not even know what you're eating with the appeal coating. The labeling laws and requirements vary from country to country, state to state. Now, in the United States, I do know that they no longer have to carry that little tag on the food. They no longer have to put the tag. And do you guys remember when Obama did give us that tag thing with the numbers? Most of those numbers didn't even work, so that you would know if something was a GMO, if it wasn't GMO. They just stuck a bunch of tags on stuff that had no scannability. You could not scan it. So anyway, this goes on to tell us that the assurance appeal gives us is typical corporate jargon. Appeals products, here's a quote: Appeals products do not contain hazardous ingredients that will cause harm to people or the environment within the context of their intended use. So is their product harmful within other contexts? There you go. Just
Did
read
it say
it
who
all.
owns Appeals?
It is with it's Bill Gates. Bill Gates and somebody else. And you know how Help Me Smithers is. Anything.
Yeah. Thank God for his philanthropy.
We just jab it into little kids' arms. We just jab it into little kids' arms, he says. Did you ever see that video where he was like,
yes,
you're watching, you give this child their injection, you just jab it in the little arm. And then his husband was sitting there looking at him. The girl, what was her name that he was married? I mean,
his husband.
That was a handsome woman. I ain't lying. You talk about a square jaw homegirl.
Man.
You talked about Bush's mama. Hoo-wee. This one here was off the chain. All right, folks, as promised, we're going to look at Flow State's chickens fighting with dinner. The dinner eaters. The dinner eaters. That's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at Flow State show us about his first encounter with the raccoons. Boom.
You know, I probably need to make a fourth installment too, because the last one ends on a pretty braggy note, like ha 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 ha, I defeated the raccoons, and I got new ones back.
You got new ones,
and they won,
and they won. They won, ladies and gentlemen. The new ones run. That was the new and improved ones. They were new and improved. I hate to skip your ads, but I gave you some money for the first one.
Skip away.
Confirming
still. I'm glad.
Here we go. Let's go back. Go.
My chicken farming still. I'm glad you asked. Farming this cough I got going on. Jesus. I have. So, I started out with 6 chickens. And one of the chicks ended up being a rooster. So we got rid of it. I listed it on Facebook on Marketplace for free, and like an hour later, I had this Mexican dude at my house, and I told him before he came over, I said, you might want to bring like a cage or something for this chicken. He's like, oh, it's fine. So he shows up. Mexican dude pulls up in the driveway with gets out of a little 2-door car, walks over to where the chickens are, goes in, picks up a rooster, and drives off with a rooster just like under his arm. So we were down to 5 chickens after that, and we've got a raccoon that's eaten all but one. We have 1 chicken left. Now, we also have 6 more chicks growing inside that will be big enough to move outside soon. But of the original batch of chickens, only 1 remains. The rest got snatched by this raccoon. Now, the raccoon and I have a beef, obviously, and it knows it, because it used to be that like this raccoon was pretty brave, and every now, at night, if I'm outside, it would sometimes kind of stumble up on me and go, oh, there you are, and then run away. Sometimes it wouldn't even run away until I made a move at it. Ever since I got this bow and arrow, it's been spooked and skittish as shit. So I did buy. I mean, I bought it a little while back because it was on like one of those crazy clearance sales at Walmart. But it's like a youth compound bow and a few arrows. And for those who don't know, I'm a felon, so I can't own a gun. So I'm out here with. I've got this like youth compound bow, and I was outside like smoking a cigarette, late at night, kind of with my youth compound bow, trying to get that fucking raccoon. But I'll get it.
Goddamn raccoon assholes, I'm calling the police, yeah. Steal your flowers, steal your mat, steal everything, even kill your...
Is that your music? Can we use it? That's your music?
I would go ahead and skip the outro songs. It's none of it is my music, but I don't believe I got any copyrights on these. But yeah, there's no reason to have to sit around and listen to it.
Okay, because I just can't do it. I just can't do it. They just be jacking me up, jacking me. And then Juicy VTV did tell you guys how you can help to support this channel. That's why I'm like, please don't let me get another strike, please. Anyway, the Lockhart Perspective. It's Lockhart Perspective to support this channel. And that is the Cash App in case you decide you don't want it to go through and get, 70%, 30 split. If you just want to put it directly in my pocket, you can go on ahead and do that and buy me a cup of coffee. The Lockhart Perspective is right there for the Cash App, Lockhart Perspective. So now let's take a look at some more chicken stories because I like that one. That one was good.
Find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
But I don't want to look at that. And I'm going to let your ad play and then I'm going to hit the next one. I'm going to let it go. Gonna skip it. There we go.
This is going to be a quick update on the chicken raccoon situation. If you didn't watch my last chicken raccoon video and you want to, the link will be here or down there. So I think where we left off, I had 1 adult chicken left and 5 young chickens that were inside and about ready to move outside. Now they've been moved outside and we're down to 2 young raccoons. Everything else been picked off by these fucking raccoons. There's 2 of them, by the way. I saw them on a camera just the other day. So it's not just 1 raccoon, it's 2. And they fucked up all the other chickens, except for the last 2. So obviously my bow and arrow hunting method is, I'm not bow and arrowing any. So I've decided to step up my game and put up my first snare trap. We'll take a look at it in just a second. Let's take a look at it now. Over here is my first snare attempt setup. So let me show you what I got going on here. It's kind of a tangled mess. Board screwed to post in a tree. I drilled a hole through there and there. And
are those marshmallows?
There's turns out raccoons love marshmallows. Loop kale for like hanging ducks in commercial buildings or whatever. But I've got it looped down here and around the stick that way. This end comes up over the tree, which is the anchor, and is attached to this block. This wedge that the marshmallows and stuff are on is the tension holder. So when something pulls that, it should drop the brick. And then for good measure, I throw another one on, bigger loop over here, and attach it to the same block. So when that block goes down, because something pulled this, both of these should go. Now this is syrup and marshmallows. Apparently raccoons like sugar. I've set up a little stump thing so that they can come this way. So there's kind of an obvious path. And then there's 2 little marshmallows so that hopefully it channels them in this way. And they go up through there. and that's all just tangle wire. I put the extra or the extra slack out of the way so they wouldn't come on this side and start fucking with that. I'm probably going to take this too. This is just a couple of panels from an old shed that was torn down and lean it up here so that they kind of just have to walk around over here. So we'll see how that goes. That's my first snare trap. And it's all legal. Everything's totally legal. I checked the laws. It's on my property. It's since I recorded that, I've actually put in Kansas, you got to have a little tag on your traps that say your name and address. So that's on there. It's all legal. It's all buttoned up. And I just want to make that totally clear because you don't want to fuck with game wardens. They will fuck you up. And that's so the truth. Try to snare something. If you're going to try to trap anything, anytime you fuck with an animal, you're better off just knowing the law on that. So I've set up that snare trap. Game wardens are like super cops. You know, if
there
I
might be a day.
I suppose they are. When I got raided on a drug warrant, ideally the first ones in the door were the game wardens because they have all the powers but fewer restrictions than regular police. But probably I'll have to club it to death like a baby seal. Just kidding. I'll probably have to bow and arrow it then. I'm also going to make a live trap when one of the boxes where the gates come down. The live trap I do have it's like squirrel size, not raccoon size. And those traps are pretty expensive. It's like $130 or something. And these raccoons have already cost me well more than that. So I'm kind of reluctant to sink any more money into these things. Really just out of grudge. It's just a grudge or a principle or something. But I'm going to make one. I'm going to make a live trap too and set that up as well. You know, I waste more time and money trying to do things like this and save myself a little money by just making a trap or doing this or that. Or I need a new side view mirror for my truck, and I've got one in it that I got from Pick and Pull. That's not the right mirror. It's from a Chevy Trailblazer, and I need one for a Chevy Silverado. And I was like, oh, well, this might work, but it doesn't. So I'm going to have to return it and order one online. But regardless, even though I know this about myself, I'm still going to make a live trap instead of buy one. So, you know, that's just where we're at. I got 2 chickens left, and they're 2 fat ass raccoons waddling around. And right now, chickens are gold, man. I got to have some chickens or I'll be part of the peasantry. So this was during thanks for watching, like, subscribe, comment, share, the egg price pump. If you're
when the price of eggs was like unbelievable, that's when this was. Okay. Says part 2, time for plan B. Okay, let's finish.
If you're gonna do anything with animals, like hunt them or trap them, check your local laws. Game wardens will fuck your shit up. And if you're at all in doubt, don't post videos of it on YouTube. Thanks.
Love my chicken. Shop safer online with identity.
Okay, this is the last one of the trilogy. It says the Chickens and Raccoons trilogy. I see Just Hear Me Out is here. Hello, Just Hear Me Out. There is the link down there if you'd like to come. Is Be More Busker one of your wonderful subs?
I don't think so.
Can I see your face? Maybe. You don't have to. Yeah, all he has to do is show me his face. Give me a peace sign or a thumbs up. Let me know you're a human, and I would love to have you be more. Okay, there you go. All right. Do you have what are you doing? Is that a shirt? You just got on the shirt? You ain't got no shirt on. Aw. Do you see him down there?
No, only you can see him.
Oh. Well, he's got a. Oh, he does have on a shirt. Does he? Do you have on a shirt? Be more Busker. Only because we got some folks that's come on before. Not you, Be More Busker, but we've got some people that have come up and they've been a little unique. They haven't worn any clothes, and so it becomes a problem because, well, we don't want to get
Just looking for some reassurance you're not going to pull your meat out on screen.
Oh boy, gee, thank you, my permanent new co-host. He's just
I got you.
Okay, so hello to you,
calling
Be More Husker. How are you?
Be more Busker.
Be More Busker.
A busker is a street performer. I used to play Cajun accordion on the streets of Baltimore. Down
Oh, the chain.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. I like that. Okay, well, welcome. I'm glad you're here. We're looking at this is the part 3 of the chickens and the raccoons. And as a matter of fact, I find great pleasure in watching this. I don't know. Wait a minute. I forgot to give you a thumbs up on the other ones. But I find great pleasure in watching this. Okay, so now let's go. Let's watch this. This. I like these. I like these stories. I like you giving us the follow up on the raccoon.
Saga is over. I've won. My enemies are defeated. Their women, children, and livestock have all been slaughtered.
Oh man.
Cinderella story.
Our gods have defeated their gods, and they'll be forgotten from history.
Oh, throw a mute on.
Oh no.
You got it in time. It's a 15-second intro.
Okay, so let me go ahead and move it over. Move it. Cinderella story. Yeah. Who knows what that's from? If you know where that's from, where he's really saying, and we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna try to catch him now. We're gonna it's the Cinderella story. Nobody knows. Somebody in the chat gotta know.
Oh, it sounds funny, bro.
Nobody knows. Okay, here we go. I think this is.
Have seeds that I've not started sprouting for a garden at all yet, and I have 2 chickens left out of the 2 lots of chickens I've bought. The raccoons picked off all of them, but 2, and one was ended up being a rooster, so I gave it away. But you guys will be glad to know that we no longer have raccoons living in the territory, thanks to yours truly, Raccoon Slayer. No, I didn't slay him.
Wow.
Because I'm a pussy. I was so fucking mad at these raccoons. I was like looking forward to killing them. Actually, the first traps, I tried to make a snare trap because I was angry and I didn't want it in a live trap. And also because I'm not, I'm a felon, so I'm not allowed to have guns. So if I wanted to kill it, which I did, but I have it in a live trap, like I can't shoot it really. I mean, right? I can't shoot it. So what? Am I going to try to shoot my bow and arrow through the holes in the cage? Am I going to, how am I going to kill this thing? Am I going to try to stab it through the thing? Am I going to throw the whole cage in the lake? I mean, just it started becoming a little bit more of a messy scene than was practical. But anyways, I was going to figure that out. Like I still had blood lust for these raccoons. But then when I caught when I walked up to the cage, I was like, ah! Like that little fucker looked so scared. Like, I don't know, it's weird seeing a little animal emotion, but like he knew that he was fucked. And like, I was like, God damn it. Fine, I'm not going to kill you. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend half a tank of gas and my evening chauffeuring you up 12 miles away to a church parking lot where I will
To a
release
church
you.
parking lot. Lord
And then
have mercy.
2 days later, I will take your other raccoon homie up there and release him in the same parking lot. So maybe you relocated little ass clowns can still kick it together and terrorize their neighborhood.
At the
So
church. At the church.
that's the story of Taylor the Big Vagina and the raccoons that lived.
They never came back. They never came. Oh shit! Am I muted?
No,
we can
no,
hear
no, no.
you.
You're not muted. We hear you.
Did the raccoons ever come back?
I think we have new raccoons.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Maybe the children. Oh man, look at that.
Yeah, I'm still sort of like, you can probably tell, like, I'm a little bit salty that I didn't kill the fuckers.
But even if you did, if there's a new like they're gonna come anyway. So maybe
I know. Don't look for logic in it because you won't find it.
Totally. That's just crazy. Hey, back to the chickens. All right, so the reason I wanted to get on here is because my dad had bought 16 eggs, maybe 19 eggs from Walmart, and it was like $1.60 some cents. $1.60 some cents, and they're large eggs. They're not extra large; they're just large. But I parboiled them or soft boiled the eggs.
Hold on. This is the frame we're gonna pause me on.
Oh, okay.
Oh, was you looking like that?
Where did this extra chromosome come from?
I mean, I can't say that I'm really surprised,
I'm sorry.
So anyway,
but I'm a little surprised.
The Walmart
We're
eggs
almost
were
done.
like
It's almost done. And we're done now.
That's
It's
Yeah.
a lot of
over.
a lot
Okay,
of
go
eggs
ahead.
for $1.16 something. So I cracked it open, and there's something really weird inside of one of these eggs. It was like this fleshy, kind of rubbery kind of stuff that was inside the egg, and I have no clue what it was. I couldn't chew on it. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, this is a soft boiled egg. Why am I getting something hard inside the thing, right?
Oh wow.
Yeah. So like what's the deal with this camera? Jesus. Excuse my language.
No worries. Go. You good?
Yeah, so like that's pretty freaky. Never again. Walmart eggs, never again. Eggland best, they're pretty decent.
Yeah, they are.
They
They are.
are.
How many? Let me ask. Flo State, are you still here? How many eggs were you getting when you had the chickens and the roosters that the man took off under his arm and drove away with?
Well, obviously, the rooster was pretty useless, but I mean, about 1 a day per chicken.
And you had a total of how many?
I had the first round there was 5 hens because one was a rooster, and the second round all of them were hens. So and I got 6 each time. So 11.
So have you heard of anything that that B Moore was talking about, like going to the store and are there fake eggs, you guys? I mean, are they really that diabolical? Somebody in the chat. Are
That's
they
the
really
question,
that
man.
diabolical?
And the shells are so freaking flimsy. Like what's up with that?
I don't know, but I will say that bread is freaky. I think we brought that up before. Bread doesn't go bad anymore. Linian, thank you for the contribution.
Thank you so much.
I don't know what that means, but yeah, use your inner energy, focus the watermelon seeds of your soul in a mystical strike to instantly turn raccoon into hat. I'll try that out. That's probably will work better than anything else I've tried.
I love it.
I did have a watermelon growing up at. I didn't plant it there, but a watermelon plant started growing out of my mailbox is in a concrete sidewalk with just a little like ring of kind of dirt garden around it. And a big ass watermelon plant grew up out of there with watermelons and stuff. So it's just taking up the whole sidewalk. I didn't plant it, but I'm sure as shit keeping it.
Are they real watermelons, like with the black seeds, or those other things?
No,
I mean, I don't know. I haven't opened one.
You haven't opened one up yet.
But I'm assuming because they poured them last summer. They just poured the concrete last summer. So I'm assuming that somebody working on it just spit a watermelon seed out in the right spot.
You hope they spit it out of their mouth.
I do. I don't think any of the workers pooped in the street.
That's what they do with the tomatoes in California. The reason why everybody was getting sick with tomatoes and whatnot is because of that. It's because of that stuff. But watermelon, man, you need to check those out because like where that nice big sunspot is, those tell you that they're really, really good. I actually found a watermelon with seeds in it. It was so heavy that I had to leave it. It was by a local grower here in Alabama. and I had to leave it in the trunk. It was too heavy. I forgot to get one of my grandsons to bring it out, but it was heavy. And then I got one yesterday, which is what prompted me to buy this one that was from Kroger. And when I opened it, it was all funny and cracky and cracking open. I was like, what is this? It felt like I was trying to open up wood. So I'm glad that I did not finish with that one. Lin Yin Chin, thank you so much for that contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. And so, yeah, but I found one today with seeds. Don't know what it tastes like because it's still in the trunk, but I better get it out because it was hot today. Not that it's going to be a problem, but I just, it's like you can only get.
You might as well, if it's been in there for a day or two, you might as well just leave it in there until it turns into hooch.
Oh wow! I knew you were gonna say something dealing with but you know what? It was just out there today, so I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna bring it in. See, you have fate with Black Chinese magic. You are a part of my legacy. Woo! He a Black Chinaman.
Did I just get the black card and the China card?
I think you got both of them. Yeah, I think.
All right.
Yeah, I think you. We got to have some noises. Some
oh, the crowd.
Yeah, we got to
wild.
get the crowd. We got to get the crowd going wild.
Fight Club. I need to go announce that I have the black card now at Fight Club.
Yes, you've just earned it. You were knighted, as it were.
Or JP's. I think JP would be a little bit more reactive, probably.
Probably. He probably would. I mean, but it's not like you're appropriating anything. It's not like you're just like slipping in and taking it. No, you were.
I mean, if I have the black card, it can't be appropriation, right? That's
right. I mean, you were literally, brought in. You got a 2 for 1. Jeffrey says you got a 2 for 1. You got a twofer. That's what happened.
Deep down inside, you're a cracker.
So I still need to collect. Got to catch them all. I still need to get Hispanic.
Like a Pokemon.
Yep.
Catch them all.
Yep.
My brothers, are you guys still here? My sons, are you all still here? Anybody want to add anything before we go on to the next and final topic? We're going to be looking at the Maui fires. Anybody want to add anything to what we just got to talk about?
You want me to play you a tune? On a bass accordion sitting in my bed?
Yeah, you want to play your accordion for us? Go right ahead.
Yeah,
we love
this one's from the 1800s, so it's not exactly as easy as it should be to play.
And you used to play this in Maryland, you said. Baltimore, Maryland? Where'd you play it, you said?
Fells Point. And, of course, the rioting and all the bullshit was going on in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the end of busking. So no more of that.
What does a accordion from the 1800s cost?
Well, this thing I got from a friend of mine who's in a nursing home now, and his wife died of blood clots and yada yada. Anyway, so he sold me this for $2,000 because this accordion and the flat earthers would hate it because it's called a globe. I don't know if you can see that. It's a globe accordion.
Bump.
I can't, but I believe you.
It's a globe accordion, and it's a decent accordion because I fixed it up. This thing it's got different frames, and the bellows are new. The old frames had a bar in the middle, and they were made of like paper layered together.
What do you think you could sell it for?
Oh man, I could sell this thing for like easily over $5,000.
Have you ever considered selling it in the place of food, for food or like shelter?
That's the thing, man. Like when it comes down to it, if it's necessity, nobody will want this. They'll just see, like, I'll just take it from you.
True.
I gotta move this laptop because.
Well, you better get on down with your bad self.
Yeah, I gotta kind of move this around a bit. Sorry about that. It's in the way, and it's a little trashy in my room. All right.
Yay, very nice. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Was that,
We're gonna give you man flow state.
And
We
the
got
crowd
our,
goes wild.
I know that's hot, right?
So how much? So could you make some change doing that? Like,
oh, dude, I made like I've got thousands of dollars worth of change in this drawer.
I didn't mean literal change. I mean like some, like what would
I
a good night be?
got like thousands of dollars worth of bills.
I bet you do
too.
have a lot of change.
I saved it all, man. I saved it all until they legalized medical marijuana. I have MS, so it's the only thing that
sorry.
helps me go to the bathroom.
Man, MS is a horrifying thing. I'm sorry to hear you're suffering with that, but go ahead, Flow State.
Oh, I was just wondering. I just lost it.
No, you were asking him how much change, was he able to make?
Oh yeah. So what would a good, if you were playing, what would a good night's haul be?
Oh, a good night would be like about $120, 130, 40, something like that. But the best is when people put $20 bills in the box. Like I have an accordion case. Yeah, like they put in 20s, 5s, and there are people that really respect what you're doing. I mean, they really love what you're doing. And the best part of it, it wasn't even about the money. I gotta tell you, man, just talking to people, that alone. I mean, just talking about like the accordion, just everything about the music, about why how I'm into Cajun music, and I live in Baltimore, which is really strange, but it's not too strange. I used to
Do
play.
you have Cajun roots by chance?
Well, no, the funny thing, well, I don't want to dox my last name, but my last name sounds French, but we can't be trace it back to anybody who's French, which is really weird. It sounds French, and in fact, Cajuns have this last name too, and sometimes it's spelled differently, but it's than what I have the spelling as.
You're a Bordeaux, aren't you?
No.
Oui.
No. I know a Bordeaux. I know a Boudreaux, a Bordeaux. God, the list goes on.
Well, nobody's gonna dox you. I mean, you see, my name is public, obviously because I'm a public figure, and I'm not just on YouTube. But I mean, just tell us your last name.
Petty John. John.
Okay.
Which means Little John, pretty much.
Yeah, I knew some Little Johns back in.
Yeah,
California.
I mean, it doesn't really matter if people look me up on Be More Busker. I mean, my name is like I'm busking down in Fells Point in 2009. I weighed so much more back then. I mean, I weighed 230 pounds.
Well, MS does tear the whole neurological system down and everything associated with it. But listen,
absolutely,
we're gonna get back into some more of the stuff that we got going on, because we're gonna talk about now some of the topics that we've looked at so far. Okay. Yeah. Now we started obviously with Mr. Obama. And now I'm going to go into the woman who was really instrumental in allowing him to really get the platform as that young senator to run. And that is Miss Oprah Winfrey. I want to understand, does anybody know about her? King BJ, have you heard about her land in Maui? Did her land get affected? And how is it that it didn't? Does anybody know? Because I know she's got like 1,000 acres. How can you have 1,000 acres and the whole place is burning down, but your spot is cool?
It's possible she sold it right before anything happened.
No, she's there. She's there going to Walmart and dropping off all kinds of stuff at Walmart and Costco's for the people who were like, Go ahead, BJ.
Let me bring this up. Me and Shaq was talking about this last night. Frank, once again, we were talking about this last night. Got Hart, right? You got could be solar flare, or they struck a direct energy weapon to the
I know
island.
it's directed
That's
energy.
right.
I
That's
know it
right.
was directed. I know it was
Direct,
directed.
That's where my mind went
direct
right away, dude. That's exactly where my mind
because that is going on. They say 89 people. They always give you a new thing, 89 people. But you also have people say that they didn't even get the 911 call on the island. So to me, I don't know if they've been in a high speed rail through there, but they got some very plans with the island to get people off that lane.
And then not only that, look, it hit in 3 spots. It hit that main area for the main street, and then it hit in 2 other areas. And when I think about that, I said it last night, or yesterday, whenever we were talking about it on Headlines with a Voice. Excuse me. Anthony Van Zandt, I love you, and I'm so glad to see that you're here this evening. I would love to have you up, and we have a whole jam session. I could sing, and then we have Busker could play his nice little litty, and then you could play your guitar, and you could sing, and we could just get down. But it's good to see you, brother. I love you. So she did go, and she's on the island. She was passing out stuff at one of their shelters that they had. But my question is, I asked this yesterday, and I said, listen, if we're right now in the position to where we have the ability to make rain, and they said there was only rain on one side of the island, they were hoping that it came through on the other side, but it doesn't look like it's going to. And I was like, well, our tax dollars take care of rain and weather modification. Why can't we just send some rain? I mean, what else are you using the technology for if not to save an entire island, unless you had something to do with said island being ablaze? And if homegirl stuff, when I read this next story, because Sandy sent me some information, and she bought 3 more properties on 3 different occasions. That's correct, Sandy. I did. After you sent all that stuff to me, I started digging and digging, and her face did not look like she was too. She looked sort of guilty, actually. She looked like the cat that swallowed the canary. She looked like a big old fat Cheshire cat. Like, yeah. No, we're like, yeah, well, you know. And Sandy says Jeff Bezos lives in Maui also. So what I'm thinking is,
I wonder if his house got destroyed.
there you go. Well,
Right.
now we know that the Fleetwood Mac, the guy, Fleetwood, can't remember his
the
first name.
musician.
Yeah, his place, his whole entire restaurant got flattened. But then again, that's, insurance, I'm sure. Because who expected that? I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, when you're looking at something like that, would they have that type of insurance where you couldn't because of a fire? I don't think that would have been that type of zone. I think if anything, it would have been hurricanes or, anything dealing with water. So hopefully, a lot of the folks are going to get some help. But here's the thing that I found curious. They moved a load of people out of there by plane. Boatloads of people out, pardon the pun, by airplane. They got a whole bunch out. And then they said that there are so many people that are still left there, they cannot get in touch with all of them because obviously their towers are down. But my question when they popped her up was, did her 1,000 acres, for example, get smitten by the fire? Let's take a look and see what it does say. Because what they're not saying is what we really got to look. This is a fire sale for real. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing that I think is that there's no better way to get to get you some land than to use a natural, quote unquote, natural disaster to clear said land. That's exactly what happened when you looked at Hurricane Katrina and the catastrophic damage that it caused. A lot of those folks could not afford to rebuild. Now they're saying that the Department of Agriculture is going to give loans to the farmers that were not able to give themselves a boost up and help themselves. But here's the thing. Doesn't Jeff Bezos own a lot of farmland as well? Wasn't it all of the big guys that own the farmland? All of that land that was farmland now that has been purchased by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, that is in Louisiana. A lot of those folks could not rebuild. I think they're just doing a fire sale on all the land, and I'm going to say it. That's it. That's exactly it. So inside Oprah Winfrey's 1,000-acre Maui property portfolio that's under threat from the fires. Lin Yin Chin says, you told Harp Obama to beat me. You told Harpo to Harp Obama to beat me. Oprah where her money field falls to deflect disaster. Okay, fails to fall to default. You know what? It's late, but you see what he say right there on the screen. You told Harpo to beat me. Her Oprah, where her money field fails to deflect disaster. Yeah, well, I think homegirl know what's up. They all know what's up. We need a place we can go. We tired of going all the way. Can't nobody go out there to Epstein's no more, cause they watching that. They watching that. But if we take over Maui, we all can hang out. Oprah Winfrey normally spends half of the year in Hawaii, but her jaw-dropping homes on the island are now at risk due to the dramatic fires ripping through the area. The presenter has split her time between the United States, it says, and Maui for more than 15 years. Now she's actually amassed around 1,000 acres of land across the region. This is her. This is many years ago. What is this? What is this?
Where are we going to be October 14th and 15th?
I don't know. I don't want to hear about it. The jewel in the crown of the 69-year-old ranch-style property that's been extensively written about and shown on her website. As soon as Oprah bought the home, she delved into renovations, and it quickly turned into a huge project for her and her home designer, Ellie. This is the home. This is it. That looks like a big old plantation, but nonetheless.
Now, where would the fires come from anyway? I mean, like, it was like...
I don't know. BJ, do you know where the fire started? Does anybody have any idea where they allegedly started? Was it somebody driving down the road and just thumped, a cigarette and some ash and, and some bushes on
Probably
three
definitely
spots?
from global warming.
It would definitely.
I wonder if there was any buildings that were dustified and then like the plastic wasn't touched, like it's a microwave fucking oven. Excuse my language.
No, but I think that it was directed. I really honestly do, especially when I look at some of the trees. Let's see. Her last land purchase was March of 2023. Very curious. So there is, let's make this bigger so you guys can see it here. Let me let it be a little larger for you guys.
Who are we saying the culprits in this particular accident?
Who do you think it would be?
I'm gonna say capital C. Got to start with a capital C, end with a small E.
Does it rhyme with Ina? First with a C.
EK Day on the CKJ.
Just say it.
Yeah, I think because the reason why I said that because I think the video played maybe early part of this year sometime. It's Polynesian indigenous people in them islands down there.
Oh yes.
And they was going to do a deal with China before the pandemic hit. And it's like about 7 or 11 different little small islands down there.
Mm-hmm.
And they was going to do a deal with China. I don't know if they was going to let China buy the islands up, but I think they was going to come in and do some type of economic rebuilding or some type of renovative, I think. And the pandemic hit, and they end up changing their mind. And she was saying how she was so thankful that they didn't do it because that's their land, that's their homeland, they're indigenous, and you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So bagged out.
Mm.
The thugs could be on the rise. The thugs could be.
That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. I know that's what they're doing. I know that's what they're doing. Definitely. I mean, what else could it be? I mean, 3 spots. There are 3 literal spots there on the island that's burning up. I mean, they're all burning up. 3 spots. 3 spots. Lin Yin Chen, thank you. You gonna share my little Canadian money with the super friends, or y'all called the Justice League?
And like Maui is like an outlying island. It's not exactly on the Hawaiian island or peninsula, whatever. It's Maui's like a separate island, isn't it?
Well, I mean, there are several the archipelagos that are like all connected to each other. They're all out there separate, and then some of them do connect to the mainland.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, You know, they ain't got nowhere else to hang out. But this is a financial grab. This is about the farmland, because they were so quick to start telling the farmers, don't worry, we're going to get you guys some loans. Who wants a
Man,
loan after our stuff done burned to the ground? Who wants a loan? Now, you giving money over here to Ukraine, and we already know that you guys are doing what they're doing is just building a cache over there so that they can go in and attack Iran. That's exactly what they're doing. They're putting everything over there that they need so they can just move on in over there and do what they want to do. Ain't nobody stupid. This is not, that whole thing over there ain't got nothing to do with them people. It
and
has
that,
everything to do with them wanting to continue to destabilize the Middle East. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
yeah. I think you're right.
Okay, that's what they're doing. So you got all this money to spend over there and send over there and allow everybody that should not be here, plus turn them into police officers, talking about, oh, can't they get some jobs? Yeah, they can get jobs because you guys are going to give them the right to work. Half of those cats that I saw, and I mentioned it earlier, half of those cats that I saw that look like they are, these folks that they say need the help, they need the place to stay, and everybody's in trouble. Those cats all look like former UN blue hat wearers, all of them in New York. Every one of them. They had men sleeping outside of hotels. And then I understand that they've got whole areas of New York. Anybody here that's from New York, tell me if there's any validity to this. I haven't seen it, but I have been told that there are whole areas of New York, like up like Brooklyn and all these other little areas that are empty. They are empty.
I've been up there recently.
Okay, talk to us about that.
I didn't see whole earth empty, but I did see when I was up there in March, I did see a lot of things that were like matter of fact, I've been there twice because I went up there last year to see Demita. But let me say something about New York though. I would say when that year I went, there was a lot of things going on. They wouldn't let you go in certain supposedly wouldn't let you go in certain places if you wanted to. Yeah, but this time it was, it's in the places like in the Dominican stuff. But what I realized that when you got them in building packed on top of each other, and you have a lot of homeless, and you see a lot of stuff on the street, it could be a lot of empty things because New York has a lot of empty office buildings that they're trying to make into apartments because they're just losing real estate space by the thousand. They're probably going to house migrants in anyway, but there are empty office buildings galore through New York because people have not came back to work in the office.
That's what are they having a big thing with the migrants out there? What's the name? Was declaring a state of emergency? What's the name? Eric Adams or whatever. But
yeah, he wants $12 billion. He wants $12 billion here with the migrants. But every time he calls state of emergency, that just means they're gonna get more funding and resources to house them. Right, that's a smoke screen.
Exactly. Ain't nothing gonna change. And see, that's the thing. Like Felicia said, they're doing that out here. They're hiring these immigrants and stuff to be cops in Chicago and out here in California too. So
they're military age men, Frank. Military age men get it. Daggone, hey, haven't you heard the mayor of DC talking about we need to have martial law? Well, I tell you one thing, you have martial law, you already had doing COVID. So these people, anything like the UN or these could be like, I'm just gonna say
it's sleeper cells. It's sleeper cells.
Stormtroopers.
They're sleeper cells. That's exactly what that is. That's all of that. They're just waiting. They're waiting for the word. I keep referencing, and I'm going to keep referencing it. I keep referencing the fact that before Obama left, he said he was going to create his own army, and then he moved down the street from the White House. And has anybody been toward the White House? Is anybody really living in there right now? Do you remember when he said that? He said, I'm going to get my own army. He said that. And now he got a whole bunch of cats.
Well, wait a minute, Felicia. Hold on. They got a big army. I'm going to tell you why. Mm-hmm. It's more than that. All right, now, watch this. See, I'm going to break down all his armies.
Okay, break it on down. Let me give you the solo. Come on. Come on with it.
Break the immigrant army, right, that he's talking about, right? Now, remember, they were telling you when the so-called scamdemic was going on. Mm-hmm. What did they say? Didn't they say if you know somebody who hasn't taken it or not wearing a mask, and they tell you to call.
Tell on them.
Tell
Right.
them. Right?
See something, say something.
Say something. Be responsible.
Remember that?
Right? Well, I can remind you, in Nazi Germany, they did that too. Telling on your neighbor.
Sure did.
That's right.
Okay, that's another army, right?
Yeah.
They also got this little group called Climate Corps. These little guys that come on. They starting off with like acting about a solar panel and all this stuff, but they're gonna start coming to you saying, "Do you got your AC on a certain way? Is it up too high? The thermal unit, all that nonsense." That's another army, the Climate Corps armies. They got a lot of little things. So it depends on what army you're talking about. You had, matter of fact, you had little members of the National Guard jabbing folks. That was another thing going on. People.
That was crazy.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, they have lots of army. The media it can be used as army. You got the abortion, Planned Parenthood. That's an army. You just had Planned Parenthood, the ACLU. They just what? They're fighting to keep childhood marriage legal in California. So I'm like, you got a lot of armies right here. So
what you said they're fighting for? What they fighting for?
To keep childhood marriage in California.
Wow.
More than half childhood marriage in California. But what I'm saying is we have a lot of armies going on. So he said that they're gonna have a civilian army. So civilian army does not have to be some guy dressed up in army fatigue or something.
Correct.
This is just your regular neighbor that resides you, the person that work with you. Somebody might tell you. So you got more army. You got a bigger army out there, and they're deputizing people. Forget it.
Come on now. That's true. That's true.
Oh no.
That's true. So you know what? But now you know what I want to ask you. Did you see a lot of the homeless people or a lot of the migrants or the illegal aliens that came in when you were in New York, or were you in that area? Or is there a specific area?
They might have been on the subway or something like that. I mean, like I said, didn't nobody really talk to me when I was out there except the people I knew. I mean, it wasn't very friendly. Let's put it like that.
And it's a big melting pot, and there's a lot of homeless, so like it's hard to tell. Like
I saw bags of trash on the street, which let me know.
Right.
It wasn't nobody picking up no trash. Matter of fact.
Yeah.
And that was in February of 2022. Then this time when I went to the Bronx, and I obviously was in a place where, quote unquote, Dominican neighborhood for Puerto Ricans or whatever out there. So, and I went to a restaurant out there. But what I did see, you got 16-story buildings, and if you don't get to your place in time and in the evening, people just take your spot. They might be going to the ball game, whatever. So, I mean, it's really not apartment friendly for you. And it's also, I would say, one thing they're doing out there, I do know they're going to do this. They're going to increase the tolls in New York $23 if you want in New York City. That's a part of their so-called climate change.
Right. They got to throw climate change into everything, right?
Well, climate change is a sister of COVID.
Carbon footprint. My God.
Climate change and everything else that they're creating are religions. They've literally just turned into religions, in my opinion. The climate change is a religion. All of this stuff's religions. They just seem to me to just be just a bunch of religions. That's it.
A sick thing.
And plus, the LGBTQIA plus mafia is, if you look on who these boards is, the climate change. Those are the people on the same damn board.
Right?
You're not joking. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. So it's like you can't. Where do you turn? You know, I mean, it's like every time you turn around, they're creating something new for you to bow down to.
Bill Gates said, "Innovating to zero."
You know, all right. So this is not a little off topic, but like, my cousin, in fact, he was an acid head, and he took acid so much. He's probably about in his 60s by now. I'm 44. And when I was a kid, he used to run around with skirts on and stuff like that. And then one of these days, he went down to Mexico and got his junk cut off. So he actually became transsexual.
Whoa, wait, what?
No kidding. My cousin, his name was Bruce. No kidding, was Bruce, and now his name is Rockwell.
Caitlin. His
RAQ.
name is Caitlin.
No.
Rockwell? Like
Rockwell.
Raquel?
It's not. Yeah, it's Rockwell is the new name. His name was Bruce. It's not Bruce Jenner. It's just kind of a weird coincidence that this is long before Bruce Jenner. He probably didn't even get his junk cut off. Anyway, so he doesn't have this type of thing where I don't know him that well. The only time I met him was at my grandfather's second wedding, and that was when I was a kid. And he was acting like a weird, freaked out dude. And he used to run around naked at his father took him to nude beaches and just all kinds of debauchery that turned him into this. I don't know if it was the acid alone or if he was molested. I have no clue.
Probably wasn't just acid that did that.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of factors, and here's the thing. He's like always been the conspiracy theorist of the family. I always thought of him as like, dude, he's such a fucking conspiracy theorist wacko. He's got these paintings of him 666's money on his wall. That's just like, dude, okay.
He had that before he went to Mexico?
Yeah, that was before his sex change, and then he got the sex change. And now I've been friends with him on Facebook. Not friends, but he likes when I call out the LGBTQ nonsense. If you can imagine that. He actually likes, he's like, yeah, I don't recommend that to children. When I talk about it, I talk about it to the nines on Facebook to people about the how these parents are turning their kids, and he's just like, I definitely wouldn't recommend that. Just
what kind of stuff did he use to say prior to him having this epiphany that he was a woman in a man's body? What type of stuff? Because it could be that something happened to him. I think they call it
it could be
skull to something. It's like they can send messages to a person's brain and change
it.
What kind of stuff was he talking about?
But he took a lot of LSD.
Yeah, that's it. Voice to skull technology.
He took a lot of LSD, and he was living in another state, so I really didn't know him, except, like I said, I met him at my grandfather's second wedding. He's long gone. They're all long gone.
Wow.
Except for Rockwell and my Aunt Norma. I mean, I feel bad for her. I don't know. And the guy that she married, we call him Uncle Alan. He's the one that took him and the daughter to nude beaches.
Okay, well, it seems like that's a family that we need to, lift up and intercede for. It just that's a bit much, and I fear that if we continue, we're gonna find out that some real issues going on here.
My dad, that's his.
You silly
now niece.
I'm ignore that.
Now that's his niece, niece, and that's
niece and his nephew.
Yeah,
you know what this reminds me of right now? All of this stuff, all of these things now remind me of that old cartoon, I'm My Own Grandpa. Remember that?
Right?
I'm my own grandpa.
We had no idea what that song was going to morph into, or what the world was going to morph into.
I don't think any of us knew what it was going to morph into, and now here we are at the precipice of the end, because this is like amazing. This stuff is crazy.
Here's a story for you, and it's true. And
but now if it's a little more graphic than some guy going to Mexico and taking off a part of him, I don't want to know.
No, well, like I was all right. So I was on Facebook, and Bruce Jenner had become Woman of the Year. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
That's stupid. Yeah, he still had a penis, and he became Woman of the Year. Okay.
Now, how do you know that?
Well, he was more masculine, I think, than I think he didn't have his wang cut off.
I actually, my cousin was at some event where he was at too after he had transitioned, and my cousin said that.
Well, he never admitted
that Bruce
that.
acted, or Caitlyn, whatever,
Did
Jenner
he ever admit
acted
that?
like a man and sat, with his legs crossed, like.
But I heard that he didn't opt to do that, because doesn't he have a woman that he dates? I heard that he did not opt to remove anything.
I don't know, but I don't think that it was probably his decision ultimately, if you really want to get down to it.
Right. Don't you think that those Kardashian women sort of send men into a frenzy? Everybody that they've dealt with. I mean, VJ and Shaq
Hollywood.
and Frank, don't you guys notice that every man these women have dealt with are either locked up someplace in a Las Vegas hotel, or something going on, or
It's like the Kardashian house is the last stop before hell.
There you go. There you go. Oh, wait a minute. That's that song, isn't it? Welcome to the Hotel California. That's what the words. Yeah, they are, aren't they, Adam? Adam just hit the nail on the head.
Look how they program. Look how they programmed a lot of these females to get with this plastic surgery thing. Now all of a sudden everybody's getting plastic surgery.
Women like us who got butts. We came here with a butt. We came here with a small waist and big hips. And you got women going to places, getting those BBLs, passing away, going in with 2 kidneys, leaving with 1 gone.
Oh,
go ahead, BJ.
You know what? Wait a minute. I'm glad she mentioned BBL, because that woman Cardi B just came out and said that she got her BBL stuff, 95% of her stuff removed.
Who? Cardi B did?
Yeah.
She didn't have it when she threw that bottle at that chick last week, because she was sitting out looking like K. Michelle the other day. I was like, what on the planet? She need to get that back. All of that plastic need to go back to Mattel. That was a good one.
Oh God,
that was a good one.
That was the best one I heard all day. Oh my God, I love that.
I will say, jumping on Frank's point. Jumping on Frank's point. I will say
go ahead.
Frank is right. They have jumped into they have made people get jumped into the daggone. The Kardashians really set up a lot of women to be in basically a virtual reality type world with all this plastic surgery and all this nonsense. And
where's
so crazy.
Sorry.
When
where's
you,
Smith?
I know
no, where's Smith? I want Smith to run some Kardashian shit.
I know one that
somebody who does a lot of Kardashian stuff. Oh, I'd love to see.
No, Smith, the guy who's here earlier with the numbers.
To get a BBL is you go to another country, you can get it for cheap. But you have women like this stuff is so crazy, because they might be operated on by a doctor. They don't even know if it's a real doctor or not. They might have some guy just.
Well, how much does one cost in Mexico? I bet I could beat that price.
What, a sex change?
No, the BBL.
Oh, what's
so
that?
It's a Brazilian butt lift. There was a woman that went. It's a woman that went into another country to get one done, and she went. Woman goes to the Dominican Republic for a Brazilian butt lift and finds herself without a kidney. And this was the last fall.
How did she check for it?
Well, no, she had a friend girl that went with her, right, you guys? There was somebody who went with her. Frank, do you remember that story?
One of them had a baby. One of them had some kids.
What story are you talking about?
The one where the girl went to the Dominican Republic and she went in with 2 kidneys and left without one. Didn't her friend come back to tell the story?
She probably didn't get a butt either, did she?
She definitely had no kidney.
What about the rapper? What about the comedian DC Young Fly? His wife or whatever, his baby mom, she went to go get a so-called quote unquote mommy makeover, and then she ended up dead.
What's a mommy makeover?
I think
she went to get everything done. Frank?
I think it's the whole tummy tuck, butt lift, all that. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, man. I mean,
I think people just need to exercise or something. Just get off your lazy ass instead of having some butcher chop you up and replace you with a peel.
It's just laziness. It's laziness. I think it's a couple different factors, man.
Zay Johnson, vanity of vanity. That is right. It is absolute vanity. Shaq, you always say it. Vanity over sanity.
Come to Kansas City, and I will beat any BBL price by 10%.
What you gonna use? Plaster? Because these
Oh no,
idiots would
this
take.
is my surge. Oh, I mean, I'll just put newspaper
Is
and
that
stuff.
your
Like, whatever.
raccoon knife?
No, this is my surgical steel,
Serrated.
box cutter.
Man. Well, but no, what they're doing is and what really got me was how many black women going out there getting them. When I mean, we all have a tinier waist and wider hips, and these other ladies were getting them so that they could compete with other women who had tiny waists and wide hips. Case in point, the Kardashians, all they dated was brothers because the brothers liked that, but they didn't realize that these chicks didn't have none of that beforehand. Ray J you know what? That's who we need to get. We need to get Ray J because I believe he started this. He got this whole Tonka trunk thing going. He got this entire Tonka trunk generation going on.
Tonka trunk.
He got junk in the trunk. He got the Tonka trunks. Tonka trunks. He did.
I bet that BBL could be kind of like getting like you get one tattoo and then you want another tattoo and then you know, or you put a lift on your truck and then you want a higher lift and then you want a higher lift. You know,
or
you
like
might want to scale up your butt over time.
Just keep going and
like
going
the
and
opposite
going.
with the low riders, right?
Yeah, they just keep going and going and going, and they
like
just don't know when to
my brother's
stop.
got so many tattoos, dude. I look at it, I'm like, man.
I got one, and I was done. I don't like that feeling. I don't like extra identifiable marks.
I've got on my
it off the
forehead somewhere. There's a paint mark that I crashed into it was fresh paint in the hallway out there.
And it tattooed you?
It tattooed me and it opened. I never got the scar. I never got it cleaned out.
How did it?
Because I was drinking a lot back then.
But you hit a wall? You hit a flat wall?
Yeah, I just boom.
Did it break the drywall or something and cut you?
No, it wasn't drywall. It's back this stone and the connecting to my duplex. I'm in a big duplex, so I have 2 floors, and then there's a hard wall right into that stone wall, that painted wall, and that it's left this tattoo for more than a decade. It's probably been 15 years.
I've got a tattoo right here on my cartilage from I pierced my cartilage when I was in college, and we cleaned the safety pin with a Bic lighter, just until the soot, right?
Boy, that's
you live, you learn. You live, you
well,
learn.
I mean, like you got to be careful with when I melt. All right, got to back up. So when you got these steel reeds, they're riveted to these plates, these pans. And in between, you got this wax. It's a mixture of beeswax and rosin, and it has to be melted. And I used to take all kinds of shit to melt it with. I'd burn my fingers. And now I just use a, what do you call it? Soldering iron. That works, a pointed soldering iron. Gotta be careful.
Well, we're going to get into another story here. We're going to look at the nearly a dozen Russian and Chinese ships that were in the area with Alaska just a few days ago.
Oh, man.
The deal is that we sent out some fighter jets and some stuff to go out there and get them away. But there were nearly a dozen Russian and Chinese ships that sailed near Alaska's Aleutian Island last week as a part of a joint exercise. Now, see, this one is a little sanitized. This story is, because that's not exactly how they said it in the beginning. It's like there are ships out here and it's scary and what's going to happen next. Anyway, it was a joint exercise, they say, that led the United States to deploy warships and aircraft to monitor the formation. And they were moving away from the region, but they never, ever went into our territory, they say. In response to the ship's movements near the island chain, 4 U.S. Navy destroyers operating in the Pacific Ocean had monitored the ship's movement from various distances, one of the U.S. officials said. Both officials stressed that the 11 Russian and Chinese ships remained in international waters and they did not sail into the U.S. territorial waters, which stretch about 12 miles from the Alaskan coastline. The United States officials declined to provide details on how close the Russian and Chinese ships got into the American territory, and the patrol marked an apparent show of military unity and strength between the two countries. So here's the Aleutian Islands down here. Above, you see the Bering Sea. You've got Russia. You've got Alaska.
It's a severe eczema. He doesn't care if it's girls' night.
Sorry.
Night.
So now, so you see, so you see, I sound like Darman. So you see, but nonetheless, what do you guys think about that? Now, we did send out the ships, and they did sort of like, it wasn't just a ship. It was also the whatchamafigum. What's the name of that one? It starts with a B. It's from Boeing. We sent those bad boys out, and we sent all that other stuff. So it goes on to say here that video posted by Russia's defense ministry on Saturday showed what appeared to be at least 9 vessels sailing in formation and firing weapons into the ocean, presumably a part of what is described as an anti-submarine exercise. Russian defense ministry said the joint patrol had already covered about 2,300 nautical miles in a transit that had taken the Russian and Chinese Navy ships to the southwestern part of the Bering Sea, which they had practiced joint tactical maneuvering, conducted communications training, and carried out helicopter landings and takeoffs from the decks of each other's ships. What do you guys think about that? Because the Pentagon was tracking all of it, and they sent out, there it is, they sent out a U.S. Navy P-8 maritime surveillance aircraft. It was also used to monitor the joint Russian-Chinese patrols, according to officials. Now, they did this last year. I know that for a fact. And in tandem, let me turn this off here. And in tandem with doing that last year, they also had the whole hangout there near Venezuela. Does anybody remember that? Where they were sort of like exercising. How often do you need to exercise to tell America that they ain't playing with America? Anybody? Shaq, Frank, what do you guys think? King BJ, I see you not mic'd. Anybody can chime in. Hey, Miss Awesome Alice, girl.
But see, the thing is, we still deal with these two countries.
Mm-hmm.
We still have trade with these two countries, so it's, you know what I mean. So it's like it's a tricky situation.
Mm-hmm.
China,
Very tricky.
And China owns things in the country too. They own the toll roads and they own some of the ports too. So, and then Russia, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we still have some kind of trading with them too on certain things. So I mean, I don't know, man. It's just like there's definitely some demonstrations that they're doing, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do know. I am with you on that 110%. I also wanted to talk about the Niger tensions threaten the Chinese projects. So there's the Niger issue that's going on with the oil. Okay. And then there's also not just Niger, but how about the fact that there's been sort of like a diversion of oil that's going from Niger in through to, I believe, certain parts of Europe, if I'm not mistaken. I got to double check that. Let me double check that because I know that there was, China's oil and uranium business. Oh, wow. Let's see that. I want to look at that, and then I'm going to look at China with the Bering Sea and all this other stuff. All right. So China's oil and uranium business in Niger. That means there's a lot more going on in Niger than I think any of us know. Let's have a gander, shall we?
The Pentagon's still working on balloon technology.
Oh, yeah, I bet they are.
I heard that if you throw a beer bottle at it hard enough, that's the way to take down balloon technology.
You might be right.
You got to have a good arm, though.
You got to have a really good arm.
Yeah,
you could miss. You could miss, and it could hit you. It could
or
fall
a
back
lot of
down.
beer bottles. You know,
a whole bunch. You need a lot. I would imagine.
Better start drinking.
Yeah, we all should. I mean, I'll get my favorite. You
for
just
America.
Yeah, we'll just join in together.
Drink up, Patriots.
Yeah, there you go. We need you. China's Niger second largest foreign investor. That's who it is. They are their second largest foreign investor. That's who China is. They're Niger's second largest foreign investor. Did you know that? After the former colonial power France has been the past 2 decades plunged billions of dollars into the landlocked West African nation, mainly for exploration of oil and uranium. Pause here, because don't you feel like these countries would be better served if everybody just got the hell out?
Absolutely, but that's not how. I mean, that's not how financial colonization works.
There you go. Sandy Aaron says, not to worry. Victoria Nuland was sent to Niger. Absolutely. There's nothing to see here. You sent a dodo to deal with that. And we see what happened after that. I like that. But yeah, so I just feel like if everybody just got out of Africa, just leave the whole continent, actually give the name back to Mr. Africanus, his name, the European that actually gave that place the name Africa, because it was never named Africa.
What
it
was
wasn't.
It before?
You know what? That's the big question for the ages, because each one of those countries had their own land name, but Europeans love to give people their own names. They love to not only give people their names, they like to name countries that didn't have anything to do with them. They just come right in and say, okay, this is going to be called Africa. This is now called
And you're talking Africanus.
Africanus, that's
Africanus.
him. That's what he did.
Or,
And
or
so,
the
European, baby.
or the African, or the Afrikaners, which was a European group in Africa.
there you go. So they all came in. They all just, here, this is what we're going to call it. So, even though they don't, it's like, what does the great grandmama call this area? But then again, you've got all those countries. So it was, each country had their own name. And of course, the continent in and of itself, this guy just stakes his claim.
Was the continent as a concept a European invention?
No, the deal, well, it may have been because, the Most High never had all of that. But nonetheless, regions were always regions. Regions always had their name. Even if you go back to biblical times, regions always had their names.
Right.
And,
yep.
And, okay, the Khazarians were called the name stealers, and they still are. They still are. The Khazarians are the
Some
name
people
stealers.
say Al-Kiblan. Some people say at one point it was Al-Kiblan. Some people say part of it was Ethiopia. Some people at one point say it was
I've heard Ethiopia.
I've heard of
was it
Kenneth?
No, Mali, I think. Mali.
Who?
I think
Kenite.
Mali. I think they call
Kush.
Mali too. Okay.
Kush.
Some people say it was Kush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Kush is
That's weed.
Kush is actually Ethiopia. Kush is considered Ethiopia,
Right.
which is where the mouth of the Nile and all of that, which is where the whatchamafig was. Well, Eden, the place called Eden that had the garden in it. See, that's
I've
what
heard
people
that
don't
one
realize.
too.
They call it the Garden of Eden, but they don't realize that Eden was the place that had a garden, and that's where homeboy and homegirl were when they got, when they started doing the freaky nasty with the serpent, which is why we're still dealing with serpents right now. Yeah,
Right.
that's why we're still dealing with the serpents right now.
Now peep this. This, Miss Lockhart. I was looking. Well, actually, it was a search that came up on my Facebook timeline, right? And at one point they had hold on for a minute.
So, when I was in radio a long time ago, they said dead air is not your friend. So it's like, they said dead air is not your friend. But go ahead.
That area, Kush, is it spelled Kush?
I think Kush begat Nimrod. Sandy puts here, I think that's a different Kush. I wish Ronnie was here because Ronnie could just make it all plain. But I don't remember if it's the C or the K. I just know that Kush is Ethiopia.
Well,
and I do know that Eden was in Kush. I do know that. But let me just say this. It could be a C. But let me just say this. I do believe, let's see, Joseph. Oh, Joseph. Hey, Joseph. I put that up there. Didn't even see that was you.
I think it was Kainite.
It might be, but
Kainite at one point.
Joseph says, get out of Africa. But if we don't strip mine the whole continent, how are we going to get our clean net zero carbon neutral energy? Absolutely. You ain't joking. You're not kidding. How are we ever going to do it? Hank Azaria, The Simpsons, Han Kazari. No, the Kazari, yeah. Those Khazarians, and I know you know 6079 Smith West. The Khazarians are to me the largest group of identity thieves that you could, they are everything. Not only are they everything, they're everybody, they're everything. Anything that was created, they're that. Oh, but we're that too. Have you ever known somebody like that? As soon as you start to talk to them, you're like, oh, yeah, I just got another fishing rod. Oh, I got one of those too. I bought 3 of them. And you're like, okay. And then they go on to something else. And, oh, I got that car. Oh, I've got that.
It's pure narcissism.
That's them. That's exactly who they are. They are the biggest, most unbelievable individuals that I've ever known of and ever read of, and all of that. And they are, believe it or not, they funded 2 sides of war. All sides of war they funded before they got beat down and pushed into, up into Poland and up into all those other areas that we are now looking at now. They were just, they are in existence now, and they are a mess. They're hanging out right now claiming that there's somebody else. Have you ever seen that happen where if you were living someplace, say for example your mom and them and your daddy and them, you guys had a plot of land, you guys were all living there, and then you left and go out on your merry way to learn how to do X, Y, or Z. So you leave, and after you leave, you come back home. Do you have to declare that that's home if that's where you're from? No, you don't have to declare that's home because you're home. You don't have to have a
How
whole
long
bunch
did
of
you
people.
leave for, though? At some point, you
Doesn't
can-
matter. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter
it
if
does.
that's home. You don't need anybody to come and give you a a bunch of banners and everybody to come from another country and do a Balfour, do some big gigantic, documentation saying that this is
I
yours.
disagree. I disagree.
I
I think that
don't.
I mean, think about it really, though. If somebody just abandoned a place for, say, 2 generations, and then the 3rd generation came back and was like, do you think that the 3rd generation would actually expect that land to be there? Like,
Who said that they left?
Well, I guess I was just assuming that they didn't leave.
No, they didn't leave. They took
Okay.
and occupied these people's place.
Well, then I'm tripping.
Yeah.
Well, how
No,
did they
they
occupy it if they were there?
That's the point, and that's the reason why all you ever hear is about how bad those people are. You always hear how terrible they are, and then you really get down to the brass tacks, or somebody who's from there, or somebody who lives there now who's sending you videos of it, and you already know the history. These individuals went into a place and they took over somebody else's stuff. They needed to declare that it was theirs. They had the aid of the United States to declare that it was theirs. And then they had this big old celebration of bringing everybody back. Ironically, I keep making this point, and I'm going to make it ad nauseum, and that is, if that hot region is supposed to be theirs, then why do they have the highest incidence of melanoma, skin melanoma? Why do they have in Jerusalem, over there in Israel? Why does Israel have the highest incident of skin cancer? If you're supposed to be from an area, then you have the wherewithal to withstand that area. Case in point, people who are from the Eskimanians, they all have smaller eyes on purpose. All of the people who are in China have smaller eyes on purpose. Have you ever tried to look at the sun when you go skiing? I tried to look at the snow when I went to Mammoth Lake in California and damn near blinded myself.
Yeah.
Because the snow is too bright for you to have these bright eyes, bushy tails looking at it. Their eyes are created a certain way because of the region that they are originally from.
That's right.
Those individuals over there don't belong there, which is the reason why it now is the largest place that is LGBTQ. And whether people know that or not, they need to do a little research, because that whole entire region now is all LGBTQ.
Israel?
Shaped just like a thumb, sitting all the way out there. It's a little bitty thumb. It's a little bitty thumb. And they've been stealing people's names. They steal everything. I ain't never seen one group of people be so many folks at the same time.
That's true.
They're Moses, they're Cleopatra. They are everybody. They're Moses, they're Cleopatra. Not only were they the Khazars, now they're this and now they're that. They are every freaking body. They're worse than Chaka Khan. I'm every woman.
and they identify as whatever the hell they want.
Which is the reason why everybody is running around right now identifying
It's
as.
so disgusting. America has become, and England, and the westernized society in general.
Well, I mean, it's really just a whole group of people. It's really a group of entities. It's not even a group of folks. It's a group of entities. It
Yeah.
is a group of entities. That's
Yeah,
what that is. We're dealing with an
They
entity.
got demon riding their butts.
No, they are that. That's who they are. Let's see. The first, let's see.
Butt
let's
riding
see.
demons.
The,
I'm gonna change my name.
No, you're gonna do it right now too, aren't you? The
Yeah.
first flight took place exactly 33 years to the day before the Pope was born. It was not Kitty Hawk. It was Kill Devil Hills. Sandy Aaron says the Khazarian mafia clothed themselves in the Jewish people. Therefore, the Jews, Joos, get blamed and persecuted because of the Khazars. Synagogue of Satan came from Zeb Johnson. Well, if we don't have anything else to share, I would love to hear more from Frank. I wanted to hear what you wanted to add to the conversation this evening in tandem with what you've already done. You have so much good information that you put out on your channel all the time. I would just love to hear what you might want to add again before we get out of here, Frank. Let the people know what's up.
All right. Well, like once again, thanks for having me on the show. But a lot of this stuff is just press releases. A lot of this stuff is just propaganda. The news is helping the government arm because, like we were saying it earlier, they get sponsorship from people like Bill Gates. You see what I'm saying? So, and they Edward Bernays, people like that set the stage for propaganda and stuff like that. The news that you push. Plus, they made it to where it's not legal to push propaganda or illegal, excuse me. So, they're just gonna keep doing what they do, man. And people like that, and the news media and stuff like that is just gonna keep on deceiving the people and keeping people blinded, man, and making it to where they call people like us conspiracy theories, but they call us conspiracy theories, but at the same time, how could you? If something's a conspiracy, then how would you label me a theorist? You see what I'm saying? It is what it is.
Who did I conspire with to do this?
They're coincidence theorists.
You're a reality analyst.
Right. You call a spade a spade. So it's just like, I'm not surprised that a lot of this stuff is going on. They was even saying there's a lot of modifications, stuff like that with these damn mosquitoes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, you saw what old boy did with all the mosquitoes.
Yeah, man. So I mean, billions of dollars. I mean, that just goes to show, why would you spend millions, billions, stuff like that into stuff like this, man? It just lets me know what kind of person you are, man. It lets everybody know what kind of, you see what I'm saying, vindictive, this diabolic stuff that these people are capable of. But
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Did you see it was a holiday of some sort, and in Baltimore, a helicopter dropped some mosquitoes down.
Juneteenth.
And people were all like,
the mosquitoes. Was that mosquitoes, BJ?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
On Juneteenth.
Wow. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I wonder who did that.
Bill Gates. I blame him for everything. If I don't have anybody to blame, I give it to him.
That's right.
So it goes on here to say that Bill Gates' Tide Mosquito Project is not responsible for the recent U.S. malaria cases. There is one. And he's got a whole channel that deals with the mosquitoes. Have you guys looked at his channel on YouTube?
No.
You guys didn't know? Oh, gosh. Let me show you guys this. Let me show you this because I was going to get into this story. But let's just go to the horse's mouth, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I hear the horse.
We're gonna look at it because this dude is
I bet that horse knows about the channel.
Yeah, he does. Speaking of horses, look, there is Meg the Stallion. The Stallion. It's a stallion. It's a stallion. Wow. It's a stallion. Wait a minute. No, I don't want to talk about that because after you guys mentioned Cardi B the very next day, oh God, this nasty woman. Oh, I saw it and I was like, I don't want to see that. It's like I don't want to see it. How can I unsee what I seen? Oh well, let's just go there. YouTube. I don't know how I can unsee what I saw, but I saw it.
Yeah,
And
it's
that
gonna
wasn't
stay
cool.
there
That
forever.
was gross. That's like in my brain now forever, and I can't get it out. Okay, so let's see. Bill Gates Mosquito Channel. PES Mosquito Channel. There we go. Mosquitoes. He's got a whole channel full of it.
I really don't like that man.
Well, it's not a man. It's not a person. You got to
Yeah,
realize that.
it's
And that's the
some
reason why they have the phrase
entities.
well, no, the phrase is racism, because there's different races that are going to be really prominent here in a minute. And so it's not, because see, we're all the same race. We're humans, right? We're
That's
of the
right.
species human. So they're actually going to be actual other species that are going to be, you can't dislike me. You can't dislike me because I'm a human. I'm not a human. I'm an entity. Okay, let's see. Is
If
this
there's
it?
any semblance of humanity in them, it was gone when they started becoming a shit. You know, and then they just didn't stop becoming a, excuse my language, and then it piled up
This is it
until
right
you
here.
see what you like before your eyes, and then they open their mouths. And horses
Horses face hairy.
Yeah.
My insane world beauty, Tara. Hello. Okay, here we go. Look, here we go, yo. Here we go. This or that. This or that. This or that. Hey, this or that. No, just joking.
Yeah, did you talk about hip hop?
Huh?
Did you get on the hip hop talk? Was it August 11th, which was Friday? They said was the
Yes,
50th year
they're
anniversary of hip
down
hop.
there. Yeah, this whole weekend, right? It was started on Friday. Started on day before yesterday for us now here in Central Time. Yeah, I have somebody
What happened?
on Instagram that I follow. Are you talking about the 50 years of hip hop? Are you talking about that? That's just going on right now in New York. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
No, that ain't what you're
Yes,
talking about.
yes,
It is what you're
yes.
talking about. Okay,
Yep.
yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. No, just joking. Okay, I gotta stop. I was so excited when I saw it. Okay, so here we go.
Libya. Hold on. I was going.
Cryptic little man.
Ah, the Grim Reaper.
This is his channel? There's no way they have the Grim Reaper as the intro.
Ah, damn, dude. Oh God.
Yeah, that's it. That's what he has.
I feel like they're fucking with us. I don't feel like
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
a real thing.
Exactly.
Man, y'all better know who your enemy is.
That's how they do it.
They
show
don't want you to believe that they could ever do that, because see, you got a decent brain.
And
Your
No, I
brain
believe
ain't,
they could do that.
and they are.
I don't believe that they would push it like that unless they want us focused on it.
No, that
If
is
they
an
were
old
actually
clip.
trying to sell this to the public for some reason, they would not have that presentation.
Bill Gates malaria. Listen,
back
first of all, Bill Gates has been obsessed with mosquitoes forever. He is the kid who probably used to take off the actual wings of butterflies. He's the guy who used to probably take up a set of tweezers and get a mosquito just to see how they worked and pull things off of them. This guy is very diabolical, and you should know, folks that are watching, that when you have somebody who's diabolical and who just has the mind to just, destroy. I mean, just look at this. His father was a major eugenicist. So
Yeah.
what kind of childhood could he have had if he was ever a child?
Sure, but I guess I'm just talking about what is the tactic or the strategy behind this video?
That video was for a time that he had something called Mosquito Week. He had an actual week for mosquitoes. What he does almost every other year is he releases mosquitoes that have been genetically modified into the air, into the atmosphere.
Oh, I'm sorry to interject, but did you hear about when he released mosquitoes at a malaria conference?
Yes, I heard about that.
Oh my God. I mean, it's like, dude, once you know that and you know enough about him, you know he's not good.
This guy's crazy.
He's crazy and
He's diabolical.
Absolutely, he's maniacal.
Yes.
I gotta
So I
flip
don't
him.
put anything past this kid. I don't. I mean, he's the kid that, you know, your pet would end up missing in the neighborhood. You'd be like, where did
Right.
Fluffy go?
But
Where is
it,
Fluffy?
And I'm with that. I just think that this is not like it's got to be either reverse psychology or Duper's
be.
delight or Duper's delight.
It's probably a combination of both. I mean,
Until it's not.
But I don't think that is a sincere, like, we're trying to sell this thing to whoever we're selling it to ad.
Well, no, he's
Like,
not selling it. What he does is during the mosquito week, that was one of the videos that he created for Mosquito Week. And this was a few years ago, that video was. However, this man pays to genetically modify mosquitoes
That's right.
and lets them and tells the public when they're going to be going out.
Yep.
But what is the purpose of the video though?
The purpose of that particular video was a trailer to him saying, I'm having mosquito week. It's mosquito week. It's him poking fun.
He has so much entertainment with himself. He loves himself.
He does.
Dude,
He's a little
you
weird
remember seeing videos of him when he was probably a teenager in his 20s, and he's like,
oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I do.
And there's like 2 videos of him doing that. It's like he's on some sort of.
Well, that was the real him. He's gone.
Yeah,
that guy's gone. Because you don't get rid of ticks like that. But no, here's what it was. That particular video specifically was for the launch of a campaign that he had. That video was. It was specifically for
So it's a promotional
Mosquito
video.
Week. That one was, yes.
Right.
However, throughout the years, this has been something that he's very keen on. Now, in all fairness, to say what his publicist said about the releasing of the mosquitoes, it was to prevent the other mosquitoes from mating. It was to prevent the male mosquitoes. So what they did is they turned all of the mosquitoes into one sex.
That's
into gay frogs.
Okay. The frog's gay. The frog is very gay.
Brilliant.
The frogs are very gay.
But like Felicia, that's I remember hearing that, and that's
Hold on.
It's like the whole story.
You mean tell me we got a Homo sapien? Oh my bad. You mean tell me we got a Homo sapien mosquitoes now?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
What are we talking about?
Yes.
It's like their excuse is about as retarded as why they're putting fluoride in our water.
It's good for you.
Yeah, right.
Not for your pineal gland.
Isn't it? Oh, look at Europe. Their teeth is so bad. Well, I'm sorry they don't.
Actually, one of the side effects of fluoride poisoning is like yellow and brown blotches on your teeth. Ironically,
There you go. So it's not good for your teeth.
it's not good for your teeth. It does seem to harden them, but it's just way worse. It's just it's not even.
The only water that I can drink, and I hate that it's in a plastic bottle, is Fiji water. This is the only I can stomach. Maybe I should get some of that glass.
You know what? My ex-wife was that way, but she's a
I like
fucking
the water in the
princess.
glass. If you can get it.
There's a lot of bottled water that's tap water, like filtered.
Dasani is Atlanta water.
That's right.
Atlanta tap.
That's right.
So you may as well just turn on the tap and cross your fingers.
Right.
Well, I mean, at least when you get it from the tap, it's not sitting and soaking in plastic bottles in a hot truck in the parking lot for 6 months first.
Ew. Oh, wow. And then you get all that stuff from the plastic bottles into the water. Hey, King
The
BJ.
microplastics, right?
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and then we can't figure out why testosterone is dropping and little boys have big tits.
Oh, yeah. Gynecomastia, anyone? Go ahead, King BJ.
I mean, hey.
We can't hear you. Oh, you can hear. I can hear you now.
Genetically modified mosquitoes, genetically modified humans. What's next? They're on the robots. They alive. They got self-driving cars in California, taxis. Matter of fact. So
Yeah, I know. I just saw that story. I was like, wow, get out of here. They've actually done it. Oh, Never B says there's that dimmed sun. Yeah, I think that's sort of crazy. The whole dimming of the sun that Bill Gates wants to do. And then we sort of had President Biden was sort of entertaining that, wasn't he, you guys?
Yeah,
Mhm.
you know, man, I'm sorry. That is like it's like okay, they've been doing that in the sky, but not just that, but they've been doing something in the sky for decades.
I think that I see where you're at, and I agree with that. I think that the dimming the sun thing, I think they're looking for a
Cover.
CYA for all the shit they've been spraying around for decades and the problems it's causing.
That's
Sort
right.
of like I suspect that, and it's just a loose theory. I don't necessarily believe it, but I could see how the oil and plastic industries might have an interest in promoting feminized men culturally so that lower testosterone damage to men isn't seen as a biological harm. It's seen as a celebrated group of brave people, you know?
Dude, I used to be horny as crap until MS struck me.
Well, that's off topic, but good to know.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I shouldn't have. That was TMI.
So
Yeah,
how horny? Let's unpack this one though.
Hey, look, if y'all think that's something, right? Have you heard about Kellogg? What he came up with? The reason why he came with the cornflakes?
No. Oh
To keep
yeah,
the
I think I
children from
did, but I can't
masturbating.
remember. What can you remind me?
Pretty much. Well, pretty much kind of what you said about your horniness, right? That hold on. Pretty much.
This guy needs some cornflakes.
Hey, look. Well, but look, think about it. What a cornflakes is? It's just a plain bland, right? So in his mind, he didn't want. For some reason, he seen in the morning that men had more energy and they was having what? More sex, right? So in
Yeah.
his brain, he come up with a bland food that would decrease the urge to have so much sex. Who told you to do that? In his brain.
I would think that if you were trying to defeat morning wood, you would have to eat it before bed. Just a theory. I don't know.
That's schizophrenia or something. I don't know.
So you guys here, I'm going to show you guys the juxtaposition of the
Fusion
sun.
reactor in China has
Here
set a new
is this the first one we're going to look at is the sun from China. Let's go.
A nuclear fusion reactor in China has set a new record for sustained high temperatures after running 5 times hotter than the sun for more than 17 minutes, according to the state news. The experimental advanced superconducting tokamak East, known as an artificial sun, reached temperatures of 70 million degrees Celsius during the experiments, according to the Xinhua news agency. The ultimate aim of developing the artificial sun device is to deliver near limitless clean energy by mimicking the natural reactions occurring within the stars. The recent operation lays a solid scientific experimental foundation towards the running of the fusion reactor. This comes from Gong, a researcher at the Institute of Plasma Physics of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, who led the latest experiment. The East Project, which has already cost China more than 700 billion pounds, will run the experiment until June. Nuclear fusion has been touted as the holy grail of clean energy production. However, it remains a
How much
long way
money?
from being realized outside of the laboratory despite the decades of research into the technology. For Headlines with a Voice, this has been the Lockhart News Brief.
700 billion pounds.
You got it, my friend. But now what I want to show you guys is the juxtaposition of the stance that China takes, and you compare it to the stance that we here have taken. So that was that, right? Let's look at the other side. Let's look at the Mad Max side. The White House cautiously opens the door to study blocking the sun's rays to slow global warming. Now, we all know who started this mindset in this conversation because it was most assuredly started by none other than Mr. Bill Gates. He was the one who wanted to start it out, and I want to thank Never mind, never be for reminding us of that. The dimmed sun was in that mosquito week clip from Gates because if you saw it, it was all dark. Isn't that right? Never be. You know what Never Be's name reminds me of? I'm gonna be. Okay, you guys know. Not everybody knows what this type of music I
Yeah.
like, so, but that's what it reminds me of. Okay, so the White House cautiously opens the door to study blocking the sun's rays to slow the global warming. The Biden administration's report required by Congress outlines research options for a last-ditch effort to slow the heating of the planet. Demons, demons. But the White House says, well, it's not changing its climate strategy.
Dude,
Yeah.
they don't even talk about the fact that it's going to rain down this.
Go
It makes
ahead.
me so mad. It makes me so mad. Like, it's going to rain down this shit all over the people, all over the fucking food.
Right. I mean, I assume that that's the intention, right? They're obviously
Yeah.
not trying to do what they're saying they're trying to do.
And when you know what
they're trying to Mad Max this joint.
I don't think they are.
They are trying, man. They done gave us so many movies like that Ghost Train with the Frozen. They were frozen, and the train kept going around because they blocked out the sun.
I remember
They had
movie.
blocked out the sun, and when they blocked out the sun, then you went over there. Somebody kept trying to get off the train to go over and trying to fix the reactor.
Damn.
So these demons are trying to do that. If you understand where these jokers come from, then you know they want everything to do with the sky.
And they showed it. They showed it in that movie. I gotta say, what was that called? It was called like Speed something or
I
other.
gotta go get that. I gotta go figure that movie out again
it's
too.
Like,
it's been a minute.
Spider,
Like Speed Demon or Speed
something or rather.
Train, and it was frozen
tongue.
outside. Everything was frozen because they tampered with the sun.
Yeah.
So
Honestly, I feel like I would thrive in a Mad Max scenario.
Really? Well, at least you know what you're dealing with.
I don't want it. I just think, like, relatively, I have a competitive advantage, but it'd still be a downgrade.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and you know what? Here you go again. Look, messing with God's creation. Exactly. That's it. Is it Ice Piercer? That is it. It is Ice Piercer.
That's it.
That is it. Yeah, and they kept trying to get off the thing to get off and fix it, but nobody could get off long enough because it was frozen. They had jacked it, and everything had gotten where it's just like
nobody could get off, and they jacked it.
They jacked it up.
They made a spin-off.
They need some cornflakes over there.
They made a spin-off series. But I didn't watch that.
Hey, no name brand cornflakes.
There you go. The ones that just got the name on the front of it. Corn flakes. That's it. That's it. Corn flakes. My father, I remember when my dad, oh gosh, bless him, he was a miser. And I can't say that was wrong because, well, he became very wealthy because of how he took his money and did what he did. But here's the thing. Every time it was time for him to be in between jobs, whenever they would cancel something at either Rockwell International or if they would cancel out one big thing that they were working on at wherever he was, because they would cancel out so much in the aerospace industry back then. But here's the deal. He'd be home and you could always tell because he would go and purchase everything that was generic. Corn flakes. I remember in California that everything that was generic was in a yellow box with black writing. You would open up our cupboards and you would darn near get blinded because everything was in a yellow box with black writing. Corn flakes, sugar, just sugar. Wasn't CNH, wasn't any of that, just sugar. Anyway, the White House offered measured support for the idea of studying how to block sunlight from hitting Earth's surface as a way to limit global warming in a congressionally mandated report that could help bring efforts once confined to science fiction into the realm of legitimate debate. The controversial concept known as solar radiation modification is a potentially effective response to fighting climate change, but one that could have unknown side effects stemming from altering the chemical makeup of the atmosphere. Some scientists say, wasn't there more than one sun originally? Yeah. And didn't one dwarf out? Yeah. There you go.
I think we're doomed.
The White House reported that it indicates that Biden's administration is open to studying the possibility that altering sunlight might quickly cool the planet. But it added a degree of skepticism by noting that Congress has ordered the review, and the administration said that it does not signal any new policy decisions related to a process that it's sometimes referred to as or derided as geoengineering. However, we pay our tax dollars for an entire geoengineering or climate engineering entity. Okay, that's it. Okay, so now I want to show you how this cat wanted to do it. You know, all of his ideas he takes to listen. I want to just tell you, Biden, I think that what we can do is, I've been really thinking if we just get rid of the sun altogether, we won't even have to deal with climate change. We can just get rid of the sun and that's it. But now what you see over there in China, we're going to create a new sun because we already know y'all tripping. So we're going to get us our own sun. That thing turned on and heated up the whole block. When they turned that thing on, it heated up the whole block.
And how I mean, what's the point of doing that? Are they really
playing God?
I mean, do they think they can actually make real sunlight for themselves? Is that what they're trying to do?
You know what? I think that it's just about them being able to gauge how much sunlight you can have, because if you don't have sunlight, you don't have vitamin D, as an example. I think there are a bevy of reasons why someone who is as smarmy as this cat would want to prevent the sun from shining, but I'll definitely use that as the first example. Without vitamin D, mankind dies, animals die, trees die, people die. That's always been his goal. He's never hid from the fact that his daddy was a eugenist and he's a eugenicist. None of them have ever shied away from that. I mean, we saw Margaret Sanger run a whole campaign on it, and it wasn't as if she ever lied about any of the stuff that that we could easily call today a conspiracy theory if we did not see her former writings. Her former writings were absolutely heinous, but this got away with it.
They carry the torch just right in your face.
Right in the face.
Family
eugenicists? You talking about Francis Galton?
No, I'm
talking about those eugenicists.
Oh yeah, all of them. All of them cats.
Eugenics.
Oh yeah, all of them cats. All of them people over there, never Nazis. Okay, so anyway, here we go. Solar geoengineering. Why Bill Gates wants it, but these experts want to stop it. Okay, so here it is. Well, the deal is that, listen, somebody just got through saying it a few minutes ago. It could have been you. They've been tampering with the sun for a long time.
Yeah.
There was a point where the sun didn't even feel like the sun. It reminded me of a magnifying glass when we used to try to look at ants. So on a magnifying glass when we were little kids on the concrete, and the skin, if you put your hand up under that magnifying glass, that was with your hand over the concrete, it would burn. That's the feeling that we had back in 2015 and 16 when they were tampering with the sun then. They were covering it up. They were doing all kinds of things. I mean, I did so many different stories on the stuff that they were literally doing, to the point where there was literally clouds that they had put up in the sky that had actually fallen down. They was floating around on the ground. These are demons that we're dealing with. Their goal is to replace the true and living God. So when you're dealing with an enemy, you got to understand how they rock. You got to understand what they do. You have to understand what their goal is. That's mankind's issue. We don't realize we really got an enemy.
You're 100% right.
We don't know we got an enemy. We just be frolicking in the tulips. We be getting down. Oh, let's go. We're going to go to another concert. Woo, that's a bunch of mosquitoes. That's a bunch of mosquitoes at our Juneteenth celebration. Nobody would drop mosquitoes at our Juneteenth celebration. Well, where did they come from? They all fell down at one time. You didn't see one mosquito, two mosquito, three mosquito, four. No, it's like somebody took a barrel of mosquitoes, opened them up, and they were all over while they was playing Funkadelic in Parliament. They was getting down.
I wonder if they were filled. I wonder if they had some sort of venom that was poison, or like some sort of virus or whatever, for lack of a better thing. Like, because that's Baltimore, but at least I don't live in that neighborhood though.
Look at these idiots talking
Allegedly,
about
malaria. Allegedly, I know
malaria.
somebody. I was on another panel, Miss Lockhart,
Uh-huh.
and the guy
Yeah,
actually came up
malaria.
and said that it's yeah. He said his nephew, no, his son, I think his son was, I think it was his son,
Uh-huh.
and his son got bit by some of the mosquitoes and stuff, and later he took him to the doctor. Yes, and he was let's say he had malaria.
Well, we
You
had a
know,
malaria. Here's the thing. They said there was a malaria outbreak when I did my research into the story they were talking about. They were using statistics from a few years ago. Now, there was another disease that was rampant at that particular point, but it wasn't malaria. When they claimed that it was malaria a while back, maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and maybe a little bit more than that. And so, yeah. I mean, when okay, prime example when we had those tablets that blew up in Georgia, the Georgia Guidestones,
Yeah.
they outlined everything that they wanted to do. But you don't even just need that. All you got to do is go to the WEF's website. You see that they want to control the amount of people that there are on the planet. This is not a hidden fact. I think the deal is that when we hear them say they want to, you know, take down the amount of people on the planet, and then we see something like that happen, we don't correlate those two. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I don't think we correlated. Huh, Frank?
It makes plenty of sense, man. I mean, it's not a coincidence that, I mean, the thing is, these people said they're gonna do it. I'm not gonna, hesitate and think for a second that they ain't gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go by what they say. But at the same time, I'm not just gonna believe any kind of propaganda, any kind of bullshit either. But
Absolutely, and that's what Flow State is saying.
Yeah, people are very naive to human nature and malice, really evil. Like, people want to fucking hurt you, and you can tell who's naive because they think that, like, they can't think of anything that would cause somebody to be mean except for money. It's just greed.
Greed and power. That's right.
Right. But they ignore the power thing. Like, well, they're just doing it for money. Like, no, at some point, like, if you can print out money, you don't give a fuck about money. What's next?
Yeah, they power and children and yada yada. Sick.
Well, they don't even have real children. Half of them make them.
No,
I don't even believe half those kids are real humans.
They don't have children. They do kitty diddling.
Okay.
That's their new drug.
I don't know that having children and that activity are mutually exclusive.
No. We got lost in translation here.
What with the kitty diddling and all?
What
was that about?
No, like
what was that about?
No, like when money and power doesn't please them anymore, they go to kitty diddling.
Oh, they go to other stuff.
Yes.
I think it's all a part of their demonic way. I think it's all a part of their demonic way. What say you, King BJ?
I would say that the script continues and we got to get ready because there's going to be more annihilation on the way.
And on that note, we're going to say good night. I think you just said the final thoughts for the evening, and I so appreciate you for that. We are going to meet up again next Saturday for Saturday Night is Live. I want to thank each and every one of my panel buddies for hanging out with us. Busker, Shaq, Flow State, King BJ, and Frank Nitty, and everybody who joined us, and everybody that I hadn't seen in a while, like Anarchy Television and Awesome Alice. Thank you so very much. All of you, thank you so much for being here. And I want to also thank Lin Yin Chin for blessing us tonight with $15. And I so appreciate you. That means so much. You've no clue how much it helps the channel grow. So to each and every one of you, I want to say thank you for hanging out. We'll meet back here again next Saturday. Oh, the Watchman is here. Hey, babe, how you doing? I could tell you a few things, but
that's a pretty ominous offer.
The Watchman, the name?
No, well, also, but I was talking about, I could tell you a few things, but you'll find out.
You just watch and see.
You'll know it when it happens to you.
If it wasn't for you and those kids.
When you're trying to drag yourself away without your legs attached to your body, you'll remember.
But
I just want to thank.
Oh,
I just want to thank you,
greatest
Miss
people.
Felicia Lockhart, for bringing us back on again. That's all.
Yeah, we'll all be here again next Jeremiah 51:33. We'll all be here again next Saturday. Lord say the same, and the creek don't rise. I want to thank all of y'all for hanging out. And you know, the regular folks for the channel is King BJ, Frank Nitty, Flow State, and Shaq. I definitely will see you all next Saturday on Saturday Night is Live with our various topics. You guys take care and be blessed. Remember what we always say on any Felicia Lockhart publication, and that is that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High. Take care of yourselves, then you can retch around and take care of somebody else. And until I see you again, don't forget to take care of my friend, and my friend is you. Y'all be good.
All right, peace, y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you